Good evening, everyone. Can I please have a motion and a second to reconvene the public meeting?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence for our servicemen and women? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Will the District Clerk Pro Tem please call the roll?
Mr. Spencer. Ms. Torregrossa. Present. Mrs. DiLorenzo. Present. Mrs. Napolitano-Ferno. Mrs. Mallon.
Present.
Dr. Senamore.
Present.
Mrs. Iannatelli. Present. Mr. Kolahifar.
Gobble, gobble.
Mrs. Poppy. Present. Mr. Hauser.
Present.
Thank you. Can I please have a motion and a second to accept the minutes of the October 28, 2024 meeting?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
I don't mind accepting it, but I think there's a typo on there. The date, the time the meeting was called to order says 7-something a.m. Just a little, yeah. That I have to notice. All right, thank you.
Good catch, Jackie. So can we approve as amended?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. So now, today we will have some presentations. Our first one being a playground update by Mr. Allen. The floor is yours, sir.
I'm just going to wait for the presentation. It's quick, easy, only a couple slides. I will venture to be as brief as possible. So I'll provide a little backstory as the presentation is being pulled up. Part of the 2019 bond called for playgrounds to be built at each of our elementary schools. There were a couple buildings, both Pearl and Bosty, whose playgrounds at the time were in good enough condition not to be considered for immediate replacement. So what we ended up doing was addressing all the other projects in the 2019 project, and now we are looping back around to the remaining funds and this last scope of work to satisfy the needs at all the buildings. Christine, I believe that's the last slide, actually. So what you'll see in the next couple slides is a couple renderings of the playgrounds that are being proposed. So for Bosty and Pearl, we are looking at replacing the playground, the main playground at Pearl, and the younger grade playground at Bosty. It's a model that we utilized up at Slocum, and this is what the rendering is as of now. Granted, there's going to be some tweaks as we move forward, but this is a general idea as to what we're looking to propose. We have a UPK program at 4 of our elementary schools, so we are looking at some sort of structure that is age appropriate for them, as well as some of our special ed programs. So you'll see a rendering here that provides a little bit of shade cover for them. Age appropriate, skill appropriate playgrounds for Slocum, Pearl, Bosty, and Idle Hour. And in the next slide, you'll see what we're doing at Pearl and Bosty, because they're getting playgrounds for both of the younger students and the UPK. We're going to keep the 2 units continuous, but we're going to put a change of color tile down the middle so that we can keep the 2 groups separate. It'll make easier maintenance. It'll keep one continuous play surface across the entire area, and it should be that much easier for us to maintain long term. And the last slide just speaks to the cost. This is what I was referring to as far as its remaining funds from the 2019 bond. If we need additional monies, there's also some old transfers to capital. Those are not designated uses, but they do not come with any cost to the taxpayer. So we're able to utilize those funds as need be to fulfill these projects. And first and foremost, or finally, I should say that we're going to also combine it with a couple of small inside projects at each of these buildings. so we can maximize state aid. Anytime you do a project outside of the building, you need to find a small project, a minimum of $10,000 inside in order to qualify for state aid. In this case, the district's state aid is 67%. Any questions?
Thank you. Do you know when you plan to begin the updates on these playgrounds?
So in order to qualify for state aid, we have to go through the state aid approval process. The first thing we do is a letter of intent that goes through the architect, sent up to the state. It talks about general scope of work. And then from there, we have to go through the approval process. Right now, the approval process at state ed for this type of work is 14 to 16 weeks. The hope is that we can get approvals by over the winter and secure the materials and do the project over the summer. But I can't guarantee that. There's still a few too many steps to go through yet. But I will provide updates.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Is there any component of the playgrounds that are handicap accessible when we're rebuilding them?
All the playgrounds that we've done are handicap accessible. There are individual features that may not be, but yes, every single one of them is an ADA compliant playground.
Like accessible for a student who might be wheelchair bound or something like that? Because I know they exist where like they can roll onto them and things
There's
like
like
that.
the swings.
Well, yeah, we don't have ramp structures built into any of the playgrounds. That would probably be the one limitation, would be the wheelchair component. We didn't do that at any of the other 5 buildings as well. When we do swings, we always get the attachment for the wheelchairs at that point. But the play surfaces and the different levels are not, but I'm not 100% sure how you would be able to do that and still utilize a slide using the climbing apparatus and everything else. So I can look and see what other features we can incorporate that have a wheelchair accessibility exclusively.
If we can just look to, I know there are certain components, no matter what, there's going to be limitations on, but I think there are some, over time, there's been some changes to like playgrounds that kind of make it so they are not so excluded, like recess or something.
And we can absolutely do that. Those are tentative, hypothetical designs right now. Once we have formal approval, I'll reach out to the architect and revisit those drawings and see what can be incorporated. And if so, I'll get further renderings as we go forward.
Did you order?
Absolutely.
Did you order for this one? What you were saying is the same thing we have at the other ones, which is the swing. Did you order that, or you haven't ordered it yet? I know that not every building had it
Correct.
originally until
Correct.
we fought for it.
If there's the ability to add swings, and once again, it's all money, predicated on the available money and everything else. If there's money, I would like to put a swing set at both Pearl and Idle Hour. It would allow us to remove the older units there and once again incorporate it onto the safe, the play surface. But that's going to be one of those things that I would recommend being an alternate. Wait to see what kind of monies we have available, because obviously we can't exceed the budgetary amounts. Absolutely. So in respects to the smaller units that we're looking at, that's something that we started talking about last summer with Lori O'Hara and Christina Poppy. So those designs were discussed already. As far as the locations and the scope of work and everything else, I've shared images, tentative images to each of the building principals discussing the different features as well as the locations. Yep.
Anybody else? Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Okay, now we have Ms. O'Hara and Ms. Pisani will give us an update on the special ed.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me. I gave you an update on where we are in special education as of right now. So I'm going to give you a little data and then some initiatives that we're currently working on for this school year. Okay. Okay, so right now we have a total of 1,065 special education students in the district. Those are all students that have an IEP. We have 405 students with 504 plans and 115 preschool students. On the side, we have all of the staff members that are supporting those, all of those students that I mentioned before. So we have 104 special education teachers. We have 19 psychologists, 18 speech therapists, 4 BCBAs, approximately 100 TAs and 65 aides. It changes on a daily basis, weekly basis, depending on what the needs of the students are in CSE meetings. We have 4 coordinators and 3 CSE chair people. This is just a look back for the past 5 years of the number of initial referrals and new entrants that we've had just over the last couple of years. You might look at the number of special ed students and say 1,000 is a lot. Where have they come from over the last 5 years? We've had over 100 initial referrals each school year, and we've had about 30 to 40 new entrants this year. We actually have had more new entrants from August until now than we had in each of the past school years. So for some reason, we're getting a lot of new entrants, new special education students moving into the district. So those numbers accumulate to our 1,065 students that we have overall in special education. Okay, so now we're going to look at some of the program initiatives that we've been working on for this school year. So we have initiated the TEACH program. We have looked at some special education reading programs at the elementary level, trying to look at what the needs are of the special education students, and then bring in some research-based programs that would help to support them. We're working on a co-teaching model this year. We're working with the elementary co-teachers, both special ed and ENL co-teachers, to help them plan and run their classrooms a little bit more smoothly. We're doing Disabilities Awareness Month, which we did last year, and we're going to do again this year, hopefully a little bit bigger. We're going to continue with CPI training, and we're doing peer mentoring at the high school level. So I'm going to go through each one of those so you have a little bit of an idea of what each one is. Okay, so TEACH program. So the TEACH program is at our Basti Elementary School, and that's for our students with autism. So we currently have 7 special education classes at Basti. 6 of them are for students with autism. Those are our 813 classes, so 8 students, 1 teacher, and 3 teaching assistants. And we have a 1211 classroom, which is our true life skills type classroom, which doesn't really need this type of a structured program. So we are not using TEACH in that classroom, but we are in the other 6 classrooms. So our students with autism that are in this program are really students that are, for the most part, nonverbal. They have a very difficult time with transition. They have a very difficult time just moving from one activity to another within the classroom. So this TEACH is a structured program where each student is assigned a color. So if I'm a student in the classroom, I might be red. So everything that I do in the room, I know when I see red, that's my activity box, that's my schedule, that's my desk area, my independent work area. So it's kind of a visual for them to know that this belongs to me and this is what my next activity is. I put some pictures of the different things that we have within the TEACH program. Each student, the bins that are on, that you see in this picture are independent activities that each of the children can do on their own. So when they're not working with their teacher or their teaching assistant or with an individual aide that's in the classroom, they know what activities that they can do and they have success at. So the point of the program is to give them instruction. The more nonverbal, the better. They really respond better to nonverbal. The more verbal, the more that we're saying to them, the more confused they might get. They are frustrated. They can't tell us or why they're frustrated or what their needs are. So this is really a structured way to be able to provide them the instruction that they need to get them to learn how to be students in school and then to continue to provide them continuing instruction. I'm not sure. Okay. So TEACH provides strategies and tools for teachers to use in the classroom that help students achieve educational and therapeutic goals. It's really to help them with attention and executive function. It's visual and written communication to help them with whatever communications that they need. And it's also structured support for their social communication. It's hopefully the goal is to give them the flexibility and the independence that they need to keep moving on within their education and to become as independent as possible. And eventually we'll work on vocational skills with them to help them go out into the community and learn some kind of a vocational program. Okay, so here's some more examples of what the TEACH program looks like. Each student has their own individual colorized schedule. So when they come in the morning, they know exactly what they're supposed to do. When they finish that activity, they remove it from the schedule and they know it's over, and then they know what the next activity is going to be. If they have speech, if they have OT, if they have PT, that's all incorporated into those schedules so that they know, okay, it's speech time, and I know Miss So-and-so is going to come in the room and come take me for speech. So they know exactly what their transitions are every second of the day. Okay, so a couple of years ago, we really
Can I just
focused.
ask a question
Yeah,
about the TEACH
absolutely.
program? Because we're going to another program now,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
It's a new program.
It's a new program.
At Basti, does it
At
follow the child throughout? So then will we
So-
have it at OBMS and will, or?
So
'cause it's
right
at
now,
Basti,
right now, we just have it at Basti. It's our first year doing it, so we wanted to really see how the students responded to it, how the teachers responded to it, and then we would look to move it on from there. So right now, we have an 813 at the middle school at OBMS. We do not have one at the high school yet. Those students have not kind of gotten to that point yet, so we don't have it there. But we're looking, if this is a successful program, which right now, the feedback that I'm getting from the teachers as well as Ms. Kimball, the administrator in the building, is that they're seeing amazing results from this program already. They're seeing the kids are really, the behaviors are, not that we don't have behaviors, because we still have behaviors, but they're not as much as we've seen over the past couple of years, and the students are really responding to the program. But I'd love to have you guys come in maybe after Christmas and come see the program. I'd love to give you a tour of the hard work that all of the teachers and support staff have done to really create and build this program. Another function of that program is that we have ongoing training for all of or PD for all of the teachers and the TAs and the aides in the classroom. So each month we have a consultant that's coming in, and depending, we're still kind of working out the kinks of how the teachers would like to have that PD, but depending on how that's going to look, every month they'll be supported by somebody who's very knowledgeable about the TEACH program and how to institute it into their classrooms.
So I apologize for that.
No, it's okay.
I had to take that call.
It's okay.
But so this is a pilot program, and you feel that it's benefiting the child.
We've seen some great success with our students so far.
So,
Kids that couldn't transition are now able to transition based on their schedules and following their schedules. And I just said after Christmas, I'd love to have you guys come in and take a look at the program.
I would love that.
I had an opportunity to meet with several parents who are part of this program.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to ask, and I'm hoping that at the end of this year, due to the fact that it is a pilot program, that we, get the feedback from the parents. Because they had a lot of ideas and things that are working, things that aren't working. And I really think it's great to hear from the parent who, again, especially with this type of program, that they are following certain things at home and what they would like to see incorporated into this program.
I would love to have that feedback at any time. I don't want to wait till just the end of the school year because it is a pilot program. So any of that feedback is going to be very important for me to know throughout the school year.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great.
If I could piggyback on what Ms. Inatelli said, transitions are very important. So I had the opportunity, I guess it was 6 weeks into the school year, mid-October, to visit the classrooms for this program, and very impressed by what I saw, particularly a couple things, the structure and what I saw as the students being able to self-regulate and get into their own routines. Anytime students of any age, any ability level are able to take ownership of their own learning, we, as educators, we refer to it as student-centered, we're heading in the right direction. Parent feedback, as well as staff feedback, and that includes teacher and support staff, is critical. And whatever direction we head with this program, all right, next, we have to be mindful of the transitions for not just the students themselves, the ongoing training for the staff, all staff, but also the parent component as well. Thank you.
Okay. So a couple of years ago, we took a look at our reading programs at the elementary levels, and we realized that we were not supporting our students as well as we could be. So I met with all of the special education teachers at the elementary level at Sycamore and at Cherokee to look at what programs they're using, what programs are they currently using, and what types of disabilities are they supporting. So with that information, we kind of went out and we looked at some other research-based programs, and we brought them in, and we had several teachers trained. Right now, most of our teachers are trained in, and I'll explain which ones I think that they're trained in. The more that these reading programs are out there in these buildings, the more the teachers want to be trained in them because they're seeing the success of the students in these programs. So the first one is UFLI, University of Florida Literacy Institute program. It supports students with dyslexia and struggling readers. It goes through the foundational skills that students need in order to be readers. They're short. They could be whole group instruction. They could be it could be small group instruction. It can be individualized based on what the students need. Right now, this is the major program that most of the small class 15-1 classes are using at Sycamore and at Cherokee. I actually just had a meeting today at Cherokee where an ICT teacher came up to me and said, "I'm hearing such great things about this program. I really would love to use it with my kids in my ICT setting. So we're going to set her up with some training and send her over a manual and have her start that as well in her class." SIPS program is a systematic instruction in phonological awareness. It also supports students with dyslexia and reading difficulties. It helps to gain reading fluency and comprehension within the students that they're using it with. Go ahead.
How many teachers are certified?
So it's not
currently
a
to teach
certified, so they're not certified, they're trained in these programs. So right now, there's a self-contained class at every grade level in Sycamore and at Cherokee, and all of those self-contained teachers are trained in UFLI. Not in SIPS. In SIPS, I would say I have about 5 teachers that are trained in SIPS, but they all do similar things. It just depends on, so a lot of times the teachers will use like the one program, they might use UFLI, for instance, and then find components of SIPS or components of Wilson or components of other things that they know, like, oh, I used this in the past and I know this might work with this student, so I'm going to bring this in as well. So that's why if you talk to parents about specialized reading, we don't typically put the name of a program on an IEP for that reason.
Well, that's
because we want the ability to be able to choose the different parts of different programs that we know are going to help support students.
That's what I had actually sent to Mrs. Poppy as one of the questions that I had at last board meeting, was that I had said that as a society, we're learning that the markers for literacy with this and deficiencies in dyslexia,
Right.
because we've had so many issues over, and you guys have come a long, long way. I appreciate
We
it.
still have a long way to go.
But they're learning that it's much younger than 4th grade, and that there are programs run like Wilson,
Right.
but they're not a one size fits all.
And also, Wilson doesn't typically start with students until they're at the end of 2nd grade, beginning of 3rd grade, where UFLI, we can use it sooner than that. So
Well, that's why I wanted to see more teachers and support staff, whomever, get certified if they could, especially in these programs like Wilson, because it can be a great tool
Right.
in the future for a lot of our students that have dyslexia, and also to be able to diagnose them sooner.
one of the drawbacks of using the Wilson program is that it takes a year for the teachers to be certified in it. These programs do similar things to Wilson. The kids advance through it a little bit quicker than they do in Wilson, and the teachers can be trained within from a couple of days to a week, and then they can hit the ground running. So the drawback of Wilson is that they really have to go through a full year of the training before they're certified. That you do have to be certified as a Wilson trainer. The rest of them, you don't have to be certified.
If I may add, I'm sorry to interrupt Mrs. O'Hara. So in response, Mrs. Napolitano-Furno, to your point, our reading specialists are also trained in UFLI, and 3 of them have the SIPS training as well. So we're seeing this spread in, to Mrs. O'Hara's point, interest in terms of, programmatic resources to use with our students. A wise person once said to me very recently that it's not the programs that teach our students, it's the teachers who teach our students. And we're finding that our teachers are benefiting from having more choices. It represents a lot of hard work, especially over the last couple of years, to invest the thought, the time, and the energy into learning these particular programs and considering how they can benefit our students. But we're starting to reap the rewards of that effort.
I appreciate it because I remember getting on the board 6 years ago and realizing that we were sending kids out that had dyslexia. I remember feeling very bad when parents would come to me and say, Jackie, can you advocate for dyslexia? And I would come to, at the time it was Mr. Middleman, and say, what can we do for dyslexia? Let's bring things in because we're sending kids out. And the more we can bring in, the better it is for the student not having to be sent out and also financially. So I commend you. Great job.
Told me to stop talking. It did. We also are using Lindenwood Bell. There's 2 programs from Lindenwood Bell that we've been using. One's called Visualization and Verbalization. It improves reading and listening comprehension, memory, oral and vocabulary, critical thinking, and writing. It supports students with dyslexia, ADHD, and autism spectrum disorder. And the phonemic awareness part of that is called Seeing Stars. So we have, I'm going to say we have about 10 teachers that are trained in Lindenwood Bell and more that want to go. So I am sending as much as I can, sending people to these trainings as well. Okay, these are the current programs when I came in. This is what was being used. It was Wilson, LLI, and Foundations. Wilson is designed for students with dyslexia. The LLI is really an intensive small group instruction that does not work well for students with behavioral needs or dyslexia, so it is not really one of our top choices to use. And Foundations is a Wilson program that works on phonetic awareness and is also is for students with dyslexia. Any questions about the reading programs before I move on? Okay. All right. So a few years back, before my time, we had Lucretz come in and do a co-teaching workshop for students, for the teachers. So the teachers loved her and have been asking for her company to come back. We brought her back this school year. Last year we started with the administrators. We had all of the administrators trained in what good co-teaching practices look like. So that when they're doing observations, they can help support the co-teaching model in the classes. We decided to also incorporate the ENL students since there are a lot of ENL co-teaching models going on. We incorporated them into this training as well. So right now we're doing K through 5. All co-teaching classrooms, all co-teaching pairs are doing the training. We had a one big where everybody was involved training, and now we are doing collegial circles monthly by grade level. So their team will come in, they'll spend a day, they will go into the classrooms or just consult with the teachers to say, what do you need help with? What have you been using? What's working? What's not working? And how can we help support you? So that's an ongoing training throughout this school year that we will be doing. Once we're done with that, I hope to move it to the middle school and high school for next school year. Okay, Disabilities Awareness Month. Last year we did it in in March. We did a culmination of a Disabilities Awareness Fair that we did during the first unified basketball game, which we are planning on doing again for this school year. Some of the things that we did last year, we recognized every Friday, we recognized a famous person that had a disability. We talked about what their disability was. Every school building did it over the announcements that on that Friday, it was the same person every week, every Friday. So the whole district heard about whoever it was that we were recognizing. We did care packages for a gentleman that has Down syndrome that is in Santa Mauritius. And so we did a whole bunch of care packages for him. We did the unified basketball game. Oh, and we also did the art. We had art displayed in the month of March in central office. So we're looking to build it a little bit more. I think I have, we sent out some invitations for a committee. I think I have a pretty big interest in it for this school year. So we're looking to, hopefully our first meeting is this Friday. So we'll get some good ideas and get it going. So the dates of the Disabilities Awareness meeting are on the screen. So if you're interested, let me know. I'm happy to have you.
We're actually going to have a discussion later on who will be the Board of Ed reps.
Don't fight over it. Don't fight over it. It's such a great. You'll see the last slide. It's just such a great month. We had T-shirts made last year. We wore them every Friday. It was a really great month. Here's some more examples of some of the things that we did for Disabilities Awareness Month. Okay, CPI training. CPI training is an ongoing thing that we do every year. So anybody who is CPI trained, they have to be trained it's pretty much every year. They do a full training. The next year they do a refresher, then they have to do a full training again. So they're constantly being trained. So CPI is a non-crisis prevention intervention. It's a program that teaches us how to recognize and respond to crisis. It's an evidence-based program or training that helps staff to de-escalate when kids are in crisis and to help reduce those challenging behaviors. So over the summer, we did 12 sessions of CPI training and we trained 163 staff members. So we're looking to continue to train because, as you know, we are constantly hiring additional staff, TAs, aides. If you know anybody who wants a TA or aide job, please send them my way. So we have 2 additional trainings that are coming up. One is December 6th, and then the next one is January 22nd. For each of those trainings that we do, we can do up to 25 staff members at a time. So we're looking to train another 50 staff members this school year, and we're looking to kind of move it on a little bit more than that.
How many hours do you guys have to put in? Because the police department does this training as well,
Yeah.
if you're a youth officer or SRO. So I'm curious to how many hours.
I think
You
it's
guys
6
do.
hours that they have to do.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and our peer mentoring classes. So last year we started some peer mentoring classes at the high school, and this is really for our life skills students. It's our life skills students that will take an elective class with gen ed students that choose to be in that elective class. So right now, this half of the year, we're doing peer mentoring art. And then the second half of the year, they're going to be doing mindfulness and music. We got a chance to go and take a look at it and see the class in action. And it's just a great class. The gen ed student works next to the special education student and they work on an art project together. It really is just bringing an awareness to the gen ed population about the students with disabilities that are in the classroom. And as those students with disabilities are walking through the classroom, through the high school, they are walking with their gen ed peers that they've met in these peer mentoring classes. It's just a wonderful, heartwarming elective class to see.
So,
Sorry.
I can't say enough. I think it's an amazing program. My own child participates. Will we have it so that the gym class next year will be a class elective also?
So this year, what we did with PE, because it runs next to a gen ed class, we kind of just pulled those gen ed kids in, but we're looking to make it a peer mentoring class for next school
That'd
year.
be great. I'd love to see
the kids can, gen ed kids can actually sign up for it.
Yeah.
We're looking to expand it a little bit more, but more on that as we do the budget.
So I had the opportunity to visit this class as well. And the bonds between all the kids, absolutely fabulous. And as somebody who is a proponent of the arts, the quality of the artwork is absolutely outstanding. So it is a wonderful program benefiting all students. And if you love art like I do, the artwork is fabulous as well.
So these are some of the benefits that we found in the peer mentoring class. It creates a positive school culture. The students develop valuable leadership skills. It's an inclusive model that boosts confidence and academic success in all students. It encourages collaboration and empathy. It forces communications and friendships. And when all students feel like they belong, everybody wins. Next slide. This is what some of our peer mentors have said. They understand their classmates with disabilities. They enjoy peer mentoring, and they would definitely do it again. All peer mentors and partners consider each other's friends at the end of the semester, and some mentors decided to pursue a career working with people with disabilities. So here's some pictures of some of our peer mentors with some of our students. This is currently what we have, the mindfulness and music with mentorship, physical education, which is kind of an unofficial peer mentoring class, and the peer mentoring art. And like I said, we're looking to see if we can add some more classes to it next school year. Could you hit play on that? Okay. This is just a little clip of the peer mentoring and mindfulness in music along the Unified Basketball Players and the pep band during halftime at last school year. No? It worked upstairs. Oh, there you go. Of our gen ed students with our students with disabilities. And it's just such a great program. So we're, like I said, we're looking to continue it for next year and hopefully expand on it a little bit.
We had advocated a few years ago, are you guys still doing the unified, but not called unified, for the K to 8? I know it was Mr. Mallory and you had worked together to bring it in for, we wanted it in the
So there
younger
is
grades
a
to have
program
piece
that's
of it.
in the middle school that they're currently doing. And then we also have a program that runs at Sycamore.
Is there any talks of bringing in, other districts have brought in or was talking about the unified cheerleading? I know that I was told that we do sometimes have kids participate, but I wanted to know if we were going to actually make it a unified, the way we brought in bowling, which was amazing.
Which is right. And I just heard that there's a unified, in Massachusetts, they're doing a unified bocce team. Yeah.
I love it. That's why I wanted to know. I know there was some, about 2 or 3 years ago, there was some, that's how it all came about.
So it all depends on Section 11 and what they're looking at as a unified team, but I can work with Mr. Mallory and see if
Yeah, and if
there
you
is.
could, and if you could let us know about, like, I would love to come and see what they're doing at the middle schools.
Sure.
Because that was something that I wanted to see, and also at the elementary. I know that in the elementary, it's more like a club.
Yep.
But I wanted to see how it's going.
Any questions?
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
One last thing I gotta say to
One more
her,
thing.
because you work understaffed, and I appreciate it. I know that a bunch of us see what you do, but when we look at this is a testament to how good you have done with your team, in that we keep having more and more people that want to come here because our special ed program is top notch. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Can I please have a motion and a second to approve the second reading of policy 0? Oh, one more? Oh, I thought you want one. You know what? Miss Pisani's going to do a presentation now.
I am. I have a presentation. I'm going to try to be robust
Just
and
kidding.
succinct.
Oh my God,
All right.
what's happening?
Good evening, everyone. That's all right. Oh, okay.
You know, you threw me off when you weren't standing together. I'm like, I wonder why Miss Pisani doesn't. Now I know. Come, welcome.
Well, I'm here.
I
Thank you.
apologize.
No worries. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the board, Dr. Senimore and Cabinet for inviting me to speak this evening. The presentation tonight is to provide updates to student services for the 24-25 school year, which focuses on our district initiatives specific to mental health support services for our students. Next slide. Our district continues to focus on the mental health of our students. Over the years, we have launched several major initiatives to address the well-being of our students. Quality mental health support is especially urgent right now as we confront serious issues that impact our children's lives, both in and outside of school. The research shows youth continues to struggle with their mental health. Therefore, it is critical for schools to develop a comprehensive approach to help our students achieve overall wellness. Our school-based partnership with PM has provided our district with valuable resources to support the full continuum of mental health support services. And I am proud to share, we are a district to which other districts around the island look to for modeling mental health services. Next slide, please. This slide shows the breakdown of social work support throughout the district. We are fortunate here in Connecticut to have the support of a full-time social worker in every building. 3 buildings, as you can see, have more than one. Our outreach social worker provides Tier 3 level of supports for students and families. This particular counselor visits the homes of our most at-risk student population and works with the courts for our school PINS cases. Next slide.
I was going to say really quick that the wellness program that is supported by the social workers in the high school, top notch, amazing, love them.
Yes, agreed. Thank you. To help support the mental health of our student population, we utilize data to drive our supports, both prevention and intervention. Looking at the data, at the end of our school year in June of 2024, as reported by the social workers district-wide, 41.5% of our student population had received support. Additionally, 109 students were in need of a higher level of care from our district outreach counselor. 65 of those students were school refusal. And currently our outreach counselor this year, and we're in the month of November, has 25 students, 10 of which are school refusal and 3 school PINS cases. So to put the level of crisis in perspective, over the past 5 years, 67 of our students were hospitalized. This number has increased every year. Currently, we have 6 students that are hospitalized for mental health issues. To further support our students in need, PM Pediatric has conducted 257 visits since April of 2023 and completed 21 psychiatric evaluations. The total number of psych evaluations is 69 over the past 5 years. So our suspensions, as you see here, 3 or more days for this year, is currently at 81 students. Overall, this number has increased by 20% compared to the last year of the same time. This increase is mainly due to student vaping. A total number of students.
I just have a quick question. for you.
Yes.
Could you just, even for me to explain the difference between a PM pediatric school health visit versus, like, why would 21 had an eval versus 257 having, what constitutes a school health visit versus just a psych eval? It seems that they'll get the eval and no further
Yeah,
service.
that's a great question. So the psychiatric evaluations are through special education services. When a student is referred to PM Pediatrics, these are students that are in crisis. We also have an AIR program for students that are struggling to find mental health counseling support. We do know that there's a shortage of mental health counselors, and due to the timely need for mental health supports, we partnered with PM Pediatrics. Does that, Melissa, answer?
I'm asking essentially, what does it mean if, like, you're referring a student? I'm guessing for a psychiatric evaluation, that might be, I'm assuming, for IEP 504, whatever,
Correct.
like, so
Correct.
versus a school health visit, which would constitute ongoing care a little bit more so than just.
Correct.
Okay.
So these are students, you'll see on the slide, PM Pediatrics did provide a breakdown for us, and we have avoided 97% of students going to the hospital for an evaluation due to the support that we received through PM Pediatrics. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. As you see here, also suspensions, we talked about them being up, but I also wanted to mention 50 students. We have 31 currently active on homebound instruction due to medical or out of school suspension or due to special education testing. And also our displaced students, we currently have 63 students who receive support from our social workers and our district homeless liaison. Next slide, please. So to help support our students' mental health needs, our district provides a comprehensive approach to wellness, which includes multiple components, as you can see here. And these include supports from committees, programs, and community partnerships. And the upcoming slides will review each of these in detail. Next slide, please. So our Mental Health Advisory Council guides the programs and events for mental health support for our students and staff. We have 31 Mental Health Advisory Council members this year. It's a very large committee, and some of you sit on it in this room, so thank you so much for your time. and includes various stakeholders. We have parents, teachers, mental health staff, we have nurses, administrators, and community agencies. The mission of the council is to ensure the mental health needs of our school community are addressed comprehensively, and the goals are to support our district-wide mental health initiatives by providing thoughts on issues of importance related to mental health. We review, monitor, and/or assess a specific program and its impact on mental health needs of our school community. We actively represent stakeholders to support program design, delivery, and service evaluation. And we serve as an unbiased, independent sounding board for students and families in our school community. Next slide. So these are our counseling support services in school. You can see the triangle tiered level of support. The mental health support staff provides tier level of supports for our students. The social workers provide educationally related support services through interventions by means of counseling, individual and group, parent meetings, referrals, crisis counseling in collaboration with their building level teams. They provide transitional support services and attend weekly IST meetings discussing response to interventions. So here's the slide for PM Pediatrics. Just a little historical background. Our district did research and vetted various medical centers, Northwell, and if you recall, we looked into Effective School Solutions, ESS, in the 22-23 school year before selecting PM. Most recently, Stony Brook University held a virtual discussion as they were looking to provide a similar model to our school community. We are actively looking at that as well. So I believe our decision to partner with PM was smart, and it was essential as we needed to address the increased mental health concerns of our students. PM Pediatric School Health is available to help when further intervention is needed, and this support connects our students to care in a more timely manner. School staff identifies a student in crisis. They'll make a referral to PM Crisis Line. Students are either seen same day in person at their sites. There are 2 sites in North Babylon and Comac, or virtually, that our families use. The student is assessed and provided support. It's typically about 2 to 3 sessions for a crisis, and for AIR intervention services, also known as AIR. It's a 6-week counseling intervention service for our students. Referrals are made to CPAP. Melissa, I think this answers your question, when a student is in danger of hurting themselves. Parent coaching sessions are scheduled alongside of counseling for students, and additionally, special education coordinates psychiatric evaluations, which resulted in a 2-week turnaround as opposed to the wait list. And some of you that do know, the wait list could be months, 3 months, 6 months out, and that's just way too long for support for students that are in need. PM also provides our professional development to our staff. The school social workers were trained in youth mental health first aid. Our elementary staff were provided de-escalation strategies in the classroom. And at our April Superintendent's Conference Day meeting, we had presented various topics on trauma-informed classroom. And the next slide will review some data with PM Pediatrics. So PM was very kind to provide these visuals that you see here in this slide. The data provides a detailed overview of the support that has been provided since the beginning of our partnership in April of 2023. The secondary level has referred a majority of students to care, as seen in the graph visits by school. PM has helped 97% of our students avoid emergency department visits, which often can be traumatic for young children. As listed here, 9 in-person PD sessions were offered to staff on emerging themes needed for professional development. So here in Connecticut, mental health education is provided for students at the elementary and the secondary level. The school social worker provides the education through a series of lessons in grades K through 5, covering self-care, relationships, and resource management. At the secondary level, the health teacher covers topics on mental health following their curriculum. Mr. Mallory, as you know, oversees the health teachers and provides that support. And supplemental lessons on mental health are provided by the mental health staff as push-in presentations on the other grade levels. So in this slide, which seems like a lot, but it's very important, it's our bullying and prevention education, which is a key component of mental health education literacy. Our Bullying Prevention Task Force Committee vets programs and brainstorms ideas for new initiatives. Building social workers push into the classroom, grades K to 5, to discuss topics on bullying prevention. And additionally, push into the classrooms. We have Cohen's Children's Medical Center Northwell. They do a fantastic job for education. We have Athletes Helping Athletes, Future Teachers of America. They teach how to be a good role model. And similarly, the high school students from the positive psychology class provide supplemental lessons coordinated by Ms. Katie Rosa. And these students are taught about topics on mindfulness and other important mental health topics. We also utilize Balance Educational Services. They trained our school staff in March of 2024. This program was fully vetted by Mike Dryblatt and his team, who successfully provided a comprehensive prevention education in the past and was selected as the best fit for our school community. From his trainings that he provided in March, this past March, our schools have now created school-based teams and developed their own ideas for bullying prevention, which you're going to see in a few minutes. I'm very excited to share. And over the last 2 years, I'm proud to say we have partnered with LICAB, that's Long Island Coalition Against Bullying. They provide our annual required training to our DACs. Those are our Dignity Act coordinators. The DACs do review investigation procedures. In addition, LICAB has provided trainings to our student ambassadors at the high school at the Anti-Bullying Club. And in addition to LICAB, our district administrators, receive training from our school district attorney, sitting right to the right of me, on the topic of DASA law. And they do a fantastic job. So our DACs are fully trained to investigate. Doug, Mr. Spencer, does a fantastic job with his partner, Anthony Fasano. And the DACs are fully trained to investigate any reported complaints in accordance with the district policy 0115. So lastly, we are grateful to the Suffolk County Police Department for providing assemblies focusing on internet safety and cyberbullying. They do come here very often during the year, multiple times. They are at no charge to the district, so thank you to the police department. And although our efforts are ongoing, we have Random Acts of Kindness Week, formerly known as DASA Week. This is the week that we do celebrate the second week in February. It's usually tied to Valentine's Day, and we focus on acts of kindness. And it's typically generated and developed by the school social workers in the building. And new for this year, we have our EASEL initiative, which has helped to create a climate of respect and kindness, and it supports our bullying prevention efforts. And we'll review that on slide 14. So we have drug and alcohol prevention education. I have to give credit to Joseph Modica and his drug and alcohol task force. They meet monthly at the high school to review programs and ideas to support our district's efforts for drug and alcohol awareness. We also have the Suffolk County Police Department, the Suffolk County DA's office as well, presented to our students and parents, further educating about the dangers of drugs and alcohol. Mr. Modica created a website. If you click on that tiny QR code in the corner, but you can go to our district website to view it in its full capacity. He created a website which has a plethora of resources for students and their families. Our supports are helping students to achieve wellness and remain drug-free. To access the drug and alcohol website, again, please, you can scan here if you want to take a picture now, or you can go directly to the website under the mental health tab. We do have a Narcan training coming up. We do offer it multiple times during the year. So members of the community and to all of our staff in the district, please attend. It's an excellent training. Jason Byron from the Suffolk County Police Department does provide that free of charge to our school district. And everyone will leave with a Narcan kit, which is essential to have.
Thank you for bringing that in. That was something we wanted a few years ago. And you
Yes.
really worked hard. And it started as just once a year. And now you have it multiple times.
Multiple.
And you've even had tables at different events.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's been excellent.
Yes, you're very welcome. Our next slide, please. So our district focuses on suicide prevention education, and this is guided by our district policy 5431. Our district suicide prevention trainers present at faculty meetings annually, reviewing the warning signs and how to provide a warm handoff to the mental health staff for students in crisis. The 988 crisis hotline reported 65 to 70% of youth texted this past year, and they receive about 15 to 20,000 calls each month for people in crisis. I thought that number was very, very large. So please share this number, text this number 988 with anyone you know. This support can help save a life.
Mrs. Pisani, are they still offering, I know that you and I had the goodies that they send.
Yes.
That they have been fabulous.
Yes,
They've
the
been
Office
fabulous
of
to
Mental
police
Health.
departments, to school
Yes.
districts, with boxes and boxes of the squishy toys and the pens and the with the fidgets on them, like all
The
these
fidget spinners.
amazing. Have they been sending the
Yes,
stuff
and
still for free to
They
the
just
schools?
sent us a new box. So we have supports to give out for the social workers in the building and all mental health staff.
That's amazing.
Anyone from the building can reach out to them in email, and they'll send you this huge box of supports through 988.
I told
pretty
you the
remarkable.
box that they send they also send those same boxes to our local police departments.
Yes.
And it's so great. They actually make them in for schools, they make school buses. For the police department, they make little police cars. I was just telling Marisol, that says 988. It's just amazing what they've come to. And the kids love it.
They do.
And then they have it right at their fingertips.
Yes. And their logo's on it, so it's a reminder
Everything.
for them to reach out to 988 if they're in need. And you can see by the numbers, people are utilizing it, and that's wonderful. So our next slide, which I'm excited to talk about, I'm very proud. This is our customized initiative for emotional awareness and social learning. We have kicked it off this year. Thank you to Ms. Poppy, who's been by my side to try to move our initiative forward. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. This month's focus is gratitude. Credit really to the curriculum writing team for the dedication and commitment in support of this important initiative. They really did an outstanding job at creating ideas which can be accessed on the Google Doc. A flyer was sent out on Parent Square. So parents, if you haven't had an opportunity, you click the QR code, you can see the themes. And also you can click this QR code in the corner, which is a little bit bigger. So what is EASL? EASL is the process through which youth develop and apply skills necessary to understand and manage their emotions. They can set and achieve positive goals, build awareness for self and others, establish interpersonal skills for relationships, and learn how to make responsible decisions. EASL is essential to schools, creating that effectively prepare all young people to succeed in school and in life. So together, we can create a climate and culture that supports the overall well-being of our school community. And as you can see here, we developed 3 learning goals, which, we spoke about the social awareness and relational skills and how to make healthy choices and relate to each other in a positive way. So we're very excited about that. And I want everyone to look out for the upcoming months, focusing on citizenship, empathy, acceptance, and resiliency and grit. Dr. Senamore, grit. We're working on that theme. More to come to the community. We're very excited about that. Next slide, please. So one of our exemplary students to be recognized and has really taken the lead on our EASL initiative comes from RMS. So I credit the social worker, Ms. Nofi, and her admin team for their creativity in supporting through their RMS influencer. And she wrote me a little paragraph of what this is. So the influencer is a program created to connect adolescents to a current trend while allowing students to see that social media influencers can be used as a vehicle to spread positivity. All influencers are chosen by a committee. The students selected must exhibit qualities of leadership, empathy, inclusiveness, good communication skills, respect, must embody a culture of connection, and highlight the RMS theme for the month. The student submits a video in which they describe the theme, they say a quote, and explain how they embodied the theme in their own lives. So in conjunction with the video, students complete an activity which enters them into a giveaway. And last month, they had over 80 entries for their new initiative. So that's impressive. For this month, for November, the activity was to write a letter of gratitude to an active military soldier. Student seen here, Elisa Wilson, was showcased and posted outside Mrs. Nofsi's office and also on the website. So if you click on that link below, can you see that, Christina? It's very tiny, right below the pictures, and you can hear the student. Oh. It may not work here. All right. Well, it worked for me, so my apologies, but I'll send it out to everyone. I don't know why, I don't know if Santo is there something we need to do there to make the video work? Yeah, there was a play button in the middle. Oh. We need a ClassLink account. I don't know if it's going to work, so my apologies. But it's amazing, and I'm so proud of them and Miss Novi and her team. This next slide here also shows the creativity that comes from the librarian at Idlehour in Duffield, Miss DeMeo. She's helped the teachers to introduce the easel themes of the month and bring them into the classroom. She created this Google slide. It's a reading room filled with books and the easel word of the month. So if you hover over the books, it's a hyperlink. So there are book reads on each of them, which is pretty cool for the teachers, and they can just read it from here in the classroom. And then this document was shared today with the elementary building social workers, and they're sharing it with their school teams.
I just have to say thank you so much for moving forward with this, because it was a few years ago
Yes.
that we tried with Ruler, and there were a lot of components to it that didn't really fit with our community. And
Right.
thank you and everybody who worked on this to really make it for Connecticut.
Yes.
And I absolutely love what they're doing at RMS with that, because they're tying in what the kids are used to, the social media, but they're turning it into something so positive. That's absolutely fantastic. I love this slideshow, this page with everything here. So thank you so much for all this work. I know it's taken a while, but
Yes.
it looks fantastic.
Oh,
So
thank you so much. I
really
appreciate
appreciate
the feedback.
it.
Thank you. And I think the buildings are building off of that, and they're sharing and borrowing from one another. And I think you're going to see more influencers at the different buildings. So kudos to RMS for their creativity. Great job. So this slide here just highlights our community partnerships. I know Ms. DiLorenzo shared our Wellness Day, which was a huge success. We had 500 participants that attended. We have over 40 vendors, 50 volunteers. Thank you to the Connecticut Public Library, truly sharing the space with us. And their staff is just so friendly and so supportive, down to your custodial staff. They're amazing. And by the end, we didn't really have anything to clean up because they were helping out the whole time. So thank you. It was a huge success to everybody involved. And we're starting the planning for next year. So any parents involved in the community want to hop on board. It's a lot of fun. And every year we make it bigger and better. So looking forward to that. We continue to support I Slip Goes Purple, that's IGP. We raise awareness by wearing purple to show our support, and we celebrate those in recovery and help promote mental health awareness. And thank you to our Ronkonkoma Rotary Club for their generous backpack donations and coat donations. We helped over 100 families this year. And additionally, the Rotary Club is offering a free Thanksgiving meal on November 28th from 11 to 1:30 at Flanagan's in Lake Ronkonkoma. All are welcome. They don't turn anybody away. So if you know someone that's not going to have a meal for Thanksgiving, they don't have families to go to, please share with them that there is a place for them to go for a meal. We also thank the John Thiessen Children's Foundation for their continued support. They helped provide generous gifts to our students in need for the holidays. And then also we have Youth Enrichment Service. We do partner with them and the team over there. We do have an after-school program for children if they're interested. It's grades 6 to 8. We opened it up this year at both of the middle schools. And then lastly, I'd like to just thank Laura Neckin at the high school and coordinating the 5K mental health run. It's a student-led event, but we do partner with surrounding districts, and we're continuing the supports for mental health for our school community in a healthy way through our run. And I believe we have one, well, these are some fun pictures that I wanted to share with everyone. You can see, yeah. Just snap some pictures in there, but you could see the chalk walk. There's some mindfulness rooms, the wellness suite up in the left-hand corner. We had a presentation, self-attunement and self-care for the high school a year ago, which was a success. You could see yes there at Mr. Modica and the outreach and the mindful care support. And we have the Bohemia Fire Department, and we have the little students in the middle that do the teddy bear clinic. That is such an adorable program, teaching students self-care to take care of themselves, and they take care of their little animals, their little stuffed animals. So it is wonderful. And in the lower corner, you can see Dr. Senamore, you made it. You ran that 5K run, and you made it to the finish line, and he's crossing the line with students. Oh, he walked. I'm sorry. He walked and then ran towards the end. And in our final slide, I'm not sure if anyone here had a chance to see this, but it is up on the district website under mental health. This is our brochure. If any student, parent, or staff in our school community is in need of support, please reach out to any of the mental health professionals that are listed. We are here to help. So thank you to the board, Dr. Senamore, the cabinet, and just the entire school community for your continued support for our programs and services for mental health. Thank you.
So I got to say, you guys did an incredible job. You did an incredible job with the wellness and what they're doing at RMS with the influencer. That was actually brought up at one of the committee meetings. Not, I wish I was on the mental health, but it's the other one. It's I think it was the drug and alcohol.
The drug and alcohol?
Or the bullying. Might have been the bullying. I think of the bullying. And it was excellent. It really, like what they've come up with, it is great to use the platform for something good. Because you know that it will engage students because they're already using it.
Agreed.
So I do think it was excellent. Kudos to RMS.
Yeah.
Also, I have to say this because going back a few years, while you have an incredible team, you yourself have done a lot. And I know this firsthand because I know that parents have come to me when their children, they were contemplating suicide, and you showed up at the house that night. I cannot even, I get choked up even talking about it because I didn't even know the kids, I didn't even know the parents, but they reached out and we got in touch with you, and you just appeared at their front door. So thank you. I don't think our district really realizes what you guys do in those hours. You know, like, you can call the police. Yeah, you can do this. You can do that. You can ask for, you can call for an appointment. You can try to get to Dash. You showed up. And for that, I commend you. I mean, you've shown up for a lot of students. And I know that firsthand from talking to other parents. And really, it's incredible. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. That means so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. And it's really the support of everyone here in the community and the board. You support all of our mental health programs. And Dr. Senamore, I know you're a huge advocate for mental health. So thank you. Thank you for doing that for us. We appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you so much for your time and the presentation. Thank you. Now. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so can I please have a motion and a second to approve the second reading of policy 0100, equal opportunity and discrimination?
Motion.
Second.
Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Yes, I do, actually. I wanted to talk about, and it's actually not just this policy, it's actually all of them because it's a Title IX, so if I can just lump it all together rather than talking about each one of them. I do have some, I have some concerns, and I have to say that as a member of the policy committee, I personally, I can't recommend these policies to the board for approval, and I know we're on our second reading, but after doing a lot of my own research on this, and I know Title IX has been in existence for a long time, but this newly passed Proposition 1, I feel like it throws a major curveball into how we're going to protect all of our students. I think it's important for people to understand what's happening with all of this. Proposition 1, which is an amendment to Article 1, Section 11 of our New York State Constitution, reads that it's going to protect, it's been, of course, since the beginning, but it's protecting students and it has certain, let me see where it is. The actual, no person shall be denied the equal protection of the laws of this state or any subdivision thereof. No person shall, because of race, color, creed, or religion, be subjected to any discrimination in his or her civil rights by any other person, by any firm, corporation, institution, or by the state or any agency or subdivision of the state. Protecting everyone. This new passing of proposition changes that language. It actually changes the definition of what a protected class is. It adds more. No person shall, because of race, color, ethnicity, national origin, age, disability, creed, religion, or sex, including sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, pregnancy outcomes, gives a whole list here. It adds more to it. And it's changing the definition of protected class has me concerned with adopting Title IX. And I'll tell you why. Because in Title IX, it provides full protection from sex-based harassment, and including limiting or denying a person's ability to participate in or benefit from a school's education program or activity. Okay. The final regulations further recognize that preventing someone from participating in school, including sex activities, consistent with their gender identity, causes that person more than de minimis harm. So they're saying there is harm there. Okay. But then it states that the final regulations do not include new rules governing eligibility criteria for athletic teams. So these regulations within Title IX don't even address what to do when it comes with sports, protecting girls in sports. They don't address that. So while we're all here to try to, adopt our policies with Title IX in it, given that Proposition 1 has, well, it will, once it's adopted in January, change the definition of protected class, I can't confidently say I'm going to really know what Title IX looks like until that happens. And I really would, personally, I would prefer to either have a work session.
Table.
We could talk about it, right, table this and talk about it, give us more time so that we understand what Proposition 1 is going to mean in January, once it is fully adopted, what that means for Title IX, what that's going to look like, and connect what that's going to look like for our policies. So I'm not going to be approving this because I don't know what that's going to look like until January. We have 2 months until that's adopted. We have to know what that's going to mean for our students, because as I stay consistent, I want to protect all of our students, every single one of them. So I have to put this out there that I am not comfortable adopting these policies tonight. Knowing that Proposition 1 passed, I want to know what that's going to look like for us in the future.
Doug, do you want to chime in or?
Before, I just want to piggyback before Doug chimes in so he can clarify, because my understanding is that Proposition 1 has absolutely no effect on existing laws because those are under Title IX. So this isn't going to all of a sudden funnel children that shouldn't be onto a certain sports team. My thing is, how can we have a conversation here and try to be like, I want to hold off on a policy within our policies that would add protecting people ever, no matter what those people are. And I just can't picture, and no matter how many times I read it backwards and forwards, my understanding of this is that what we are trying to do through Prop 1 is to make sure that these rights cannot be rolled back at a later point, not so we can create new ones and put this undue danger. I can't fathom anybody would write a law or that any one of us would be like, let's put kids in danger today. It's been this way since about, from what I read, 2015. There has been inclusion of trans, on a federal level, there has been an inclusion of trans children on sports, right? That has become a contentious topic when it shouldn't have been, because we were talking about people and their identity and how they choose to live, and they're just not looking to hurt other kids. And it's this conversation, to me, when we have it in public, is so detrimental and so damaging, because it's the implication that a trans kid who wants to play sports is just implicitly dangerous. And that, to me, is not okay language to use sitting up here, as we can have these conversations if there's a genuine concern. But from what I'm reading, There's no change to parental rights. There's no change to sports rules specifically. And why would we suddenly create a policy? It's like we're creating a policy to create a problem, or like we're creating a problem just to materialize an argument. Like, I just don't understand why we wouldn't want to protect a group of people who have been so identified as needing this protection over and over and over.
Dr. Melissa, I'd like to speak.
Melissa, you guys realize that it's the it changes the Constitution. You realize it changes the Constitution.
Hold on,
It
everyone.
realize it changes the Constitution.
Jax, you weren't.
And, well, I didn't know there was a number I had to pull out of a hat.
No, well, April,
but
only because April hasn't spoken yet. That's the only reason why.
All
So
right, well,
everybody gets a
I already
chance.
started, and neither have I. I didn't speak on this. And the constitutional, it changes the Constitution. Let's first understand that. I don't know, and I'm going to tell you so you guys know. I went to
No
the
shouting
training.
from the
I went
audience,
to the
please.
training. I went to the training that nobody else on this board went to for Title IX. I sat with 50 people in a room with 20 chairs, and we were all sitting on the floor at the conference. I'm fairly sure what the attorneys told us there, which was very clear. You guys are all welcome to read this, and you should, that it changes the Constitution. That's first. So let's get that straight. April sent an email stating, why is this being spoken about? It's political. That's what she said. It's not just political. It affects our school district. It affects all school districts. That's first. Prop 1, just so everyone understands, was an attack, whether you understand that or not, on women's rights, parental rights, national autonomy that we've ever seen. It is allowing boys to play in girls' sports. It is allowing men to use
I'm going to ask the audience to
women's
refrain,
bathrooms.
keep, and just
It is
hold their
allowing,
comments.
there's going to be issues with locker rooms, dorms. It is weakening parental rights. And that is the piece that is partial to schools. That is the piece that you guys have to understand. There is all sorts of regulations from 2020 to now 2024 that have changed, significant changes. It's not just, okay, we're talking about this. The protected classes have all changed now. Who's protected? It's. I don't know if you guys fully understand Title IX. It's a lot to understand and digest, and we really should, honestly, we talked about having a board goals. We should honestly have a sit down with our attorneys in a retreat, and at that point I would, because I think you guys all need to get more learning on Title IX in a more legal concept of it. I also think people don't understand that what Jackie's asking isn't unreasonable. What she's saying is that that in January, the Constitution, which is, by the way, the strongest law that it's gonna be very tough depending on how this is all gonna pan out, it passed. So you have to understand and prepare that the Constitution is extremely strong, and that this is now going to have verbiage that may not, we're going to put this into play now. And in January, it may not be the same in regards to what we're talking about with the what's legal and what's not. Considering if we are changing it, you guys want to put different verbiage in, optional verbiage. You don't know if when we do the Title IX, what that's going to be, if it's going to be in, I'm not sure if it's going to be in regulation. What they were explaining to us there, and it was confusing, was is it going to be in regulation? That's why they said be careful at the conference. They were very clear. They said be careful with your policies because they're going to change as of January with the new regulations and verbiage if Prop 1 passed. And that's before it passed. It now passed.
Okay.
Ms.
So,
Anselli.
thank you. So, yes, I did write an email saying it's political because Prop 1, as many of you know, cover a lot of topics, and I did not think the Board of Education should be talking about many of them. So that is correct. Second, if something changes in January, we'll have to revisit it. I do not believe we should be tabling this today. I do sit on the policy committee, and from the law firm, Anthony Fasano, told us that New York State, we were supposed to be voting on this last month. I actually think it's September, and we did not. So we actually are not compliant right now, according to him, and we were supposed to vote on this. So I'm more than okay, 100%, 110% voting on this today. And if in January we need to revisit due to a change that is passing, then we revisit. But for right now, I am okay with not tabling and going forward.
So I was going to say something similar because the law is ever changing and ever evolving. So our policies are constantly being updated. So should it change in January, it could always be revisited and updated to agree with the law at the time.
And I want to add one last thing that maybe we're not all aware of with Title IX. Title IX actually does provide schools with flexibility to adapt, which is good. Their grievance procedures, unless such a process would conflict with federal, state, or local law. Our Constitution is law. So keep that in mind as you want to vote yes for this. Keep that in mind that we may think we have flexibility, but if the law is what the law is, doesn't matter. If it conflicts with it, that is what it is, and that will now be in our Constitution. So I think doing our due diligence, and I know we've held off, but I think it would be the best thing for us to hold off so we all know what this is about. I'm not comfortable voting on this when I'm not sure what that law is exactly going to look like in 2 months and writing something into our policy. Much harder to remove something once it's in there. And at this point, we will have 2 months where we have this in here and we're following certain regulations. It's too messy and we're too close to January. Wait to see what that's going to look like and then we can discuss it.
Jackie, you have the right to abstain, and that is your right. So please, of course, feel free to abstain.
April, but I appreciate you saying in public that it's political. Prop 1, you do know, is going to affect schools. So you're going to have to deal with some political concepts. And at some point, you're going to have to be honest in public on what you really think.
I asked it to only be about school.
Well, you guys want to change. You don't have that. Tell us how to speak in public in an email. So in the future, please refrain from it because the reality is you don't have any experience to know that there are a lot of things have been political. School districts, unfortunately, are apolitical, but the issues that come from the government, come from the state. Remember, there are politics behind a lot of it, whether we like it or not. So you saying we shouldn't speak about Prop 1, should we not speak about Title IX? I mean, after all,
I said we shouldn't speak about topics
I just went to a convention that not only spoke about it, but had you attended, you could have went to it too and learned something.
That conference is not the sole source of information. Like, that's not the only place in the world to get information.
Melissa, neither
Jax,
is,
I'm speaking
neither
and I
is your
didn't
3
cut
minutes
you
on the
off.
board. Neither is your 3 minutes
Guess
on the
what,
board.
though?
Guys, let's all.
My license in the field of social work tells me,
Your license
no, I am not
just
speaking. I haven't.
Can we all just have respect for each other?
But like, I
Guys,
can understand.
You have a lot.
we need to have respect for when someone is speaking and respect what they are saying. That's it. Just let them finish, and then you can have your piece.
Right. So again, I'm going to reiterate the fact that I will never, ever, for any class, when we are given numbers straight in black and white from that I'm sure were somewhere at this conference about the rates of mental health concerns among transgender youth, LGBT youth, to then just be like, whoa, we should not protect them any further. Yes, this is changes to the Constitution. It's changes being made so that we can't go back in time and take things away. And whenever rolls around, we have stronger protections in New York State for these kids who are already vulnerable. That's what we're looking to change. We are looking to protect people further within our Constitution. Nobody's looking to hurt anyone. And again, I'm all for, come January, things change and we have to talk about this again. And we have to get on board with whatever it is. I'm here for it. We're having the conversation again. If it's a legal guidance we have to follow, it might be harder to take things out of a policy, but we're not going to have a choice. Now, are we? So we have the conversation again in January. I'm in November and I want to protect these kids.
Doug, I have to bring this up because I don't think they remember. I don't know if you remember, if it was Anthony who was here, I'm not sure. But we were told, we got the recommendation that all students was an optional line. All students. And your recommendation was all students. That's legal. And the last time I checked, Melissa, he's got a lot more experience than you, me, or any of us up here. So that's first of all. Second of all, you guys opted to put in optional verbiage, including transgender and gender expansive students. You chose that. You chose that, and not every district chose that. And it gets better. It already says, you guys act like you put something in that it wasn't, that people weren't already being written in. It already says. If am I wrong, or did you not read the whole policy where it actually states right at the very top, and it brings it right to there. It says it right here. Gender identity and expression, it tells you gender identity expression, actual or perceived, gender-related identity, appearance, behavior, expression, or other gender-related characteristic regardless of the sex assigned to the person at birth, including but not limited to the status of being transgender. So please don't act like what you guys did wasn't a political move, because it is. And if our recommendation from legal was all students, that's all students.
So I'll address, do you mind if I go?
Go ahead.
I'll go quick. I'll address that. Just like I said last time, we are elected by the community. The community is speaking to us. The community would like that in there. I do not have a problem with adding, what is it, 4, maybe 5 words, so that everybody is included and we all have read and we know it is there. But since everybody sitting here, the majority of them would like those words in there, I am more than okay with adding them.
April, is there a reason? So what you're telling me is if we have 20 people come to a board meeting, that's who is the majority in the district. I asked you guys to send out a survey. How come you guys didn't want to send out a survey? Do you not want to hear from the entire district? Or is it just the people you're friendly with, or 20 people in the audience is all you want to listen to?
Many people have
That's
reached
not
out
the
to me.
full
Well,
district. Let's be
many.
clear on that.
I think that, sorry, but like Melissa said once, one person is enough to be heard and valued. And more than one person has spoken, and we represent all the people, whether it be one person or 4,000 people. So we just want everybody to know that they are heard, regardless if it's 1 or 400,000.
I've been waiting, so I'm just gonna go.
Are they heard, Marisol?
Okay.
Because you're saying that only the people in our audience are heard. So please tell the people at home.
I've
They
been-
are
All
not
right, I'm just
heard,
gonna let
and
Ms.
they're not-
Taragrosa finish
Well, they're
her.
not heard because you guys only want to listen to who shows up, and that's not the whole community. And you
Okay.
guys need to start to realize that.
Go ahead.
So first of all, I just want to, we don't think we did anything just because, like, is it us who thinks something's being done? Because if the language is already in the beginning and who cares, then why do you is number one. And number two is I would have to say that it's not one person. It was 61.9% of New York State voters who wanted Proposition 1 in place.
Melissa, and I would like to say that if we're going to talk about the presidential election and Prop 1 passing.
We're not
the
going
last
to
time
talk
I
about
checked,
that.
President
Guys,
Trump
we're
is
not going to
elected.
talk about that.
President
We're
Trump got
talking about
elected.
policy
So
0,
let's talk about
100.
how much percentage did he win by?
Guys, we're
Let's
okay.
change
You're
it down.
talking about
We're going to vote.
So
We're
I'm talking about Prop 1. I'm not talking about
We're
the
not
presidential
talking about the
election.
president.
Talking about the percentage of an elected.
About
of
the
an
proposal
election.
that you
So if you want
brought
to talk
up.
about the election, let's congratulate our president of the United States.
We are going.
Trump.
You're the only one
Congratulations.
talking about the president, but honest to God, the point that I'm making
I
is
have a right to
no.
congratulate the president.
Congrats.
I have a right
And
to
I have a-
congratulate him.
Guys, we are going off. We are going way off topic. We are
I
on
did not bring up
policy
the
0, 100.
presidential election.
You did. You
I am
brought up
talking about the prop
percentage of the Prop 1
that
when we
you
talked
brought
about-
up to argue about. That's my point.
There's no
You
arguing.
brought up
Melissa,
Prop 1,
your
and then
tone
you're saying
is very
one
upsetting
person
to me.
cares.
You're offending me with your tone.
I don't care if I am offending
I'm
you
sorry
because
to
you
tell
don't
you.
care if you're
How do
offending
you
an
know?
entire
Obviously,
subset of people.
Do you know that this district?
I am going
Do you know
to call for a
voted
vote.
in the presidential?
Ms. Taragrosa, how do you vote on policy 0, 100?
Yes.
Ms. DiLorenzo,
No.
Ms. Napolitano Ferno,
Absolutely no. I go with what my attorney gave us as a recommendation.
Ms. Iannatelli,
Yes. That's what I do.
and I am a yes. Motion passes. Can I please call for a motion and a second to approve policy, the second reading of policy 0, 010 sexual harassment.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions on that one? Ms. Terrarosa, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. DiLorenzo,
No.
Ms. Napolitano-Ferno,
No.
Ms. Iannatelli.
Yes.
I am a yes. Can I please have a motion and a second to approve the second reading of policy 0110.2, sexual harassment in the workplace?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions on that one? Ms. Terrarosa,
Yes.
Ms. DiLorenzo,
No.
Ms. Napolitano-Ferno,
Nope.
Ms. Iannatelli.
Yes.
I am a yes. Can I have a motion and a second to approve the second reading of policy 0111, sex discrimination and sex-based harassment?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions on that one? Ms. Terrarosa,
Yes.
Ms. DiLorenzo,
No.
Ms. Napolitano-Ferno,
No.
Ms. Iannatelli,
Yes.
and I am a yes. Can I call for a motion and a second to approve the second reading of policy 0115, harassment, hazing, and bullying?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions on that one? Ms. Terrarosa,
Yes.
Ms. DiLorenzo,
No.
Ms. Napolitano-Ferno,
No.
Ms. Iannatelli,
Yes.
and I am a yes. Okay, I will now open the floor for the first open public comment portion of the agenda. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping up to the podium. You should have received a number card from security in your way in. If you have not, please see a security guard in the back of the room. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to school matters only. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes for one or more topics. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building. The use of foul language and threatening comments will not be tolerated, and the board will consider a recess until order is restored. In accordance with policy 1230, public comment will not exceed 30 minutes. If there are additional persons wishing to speak, the board may consider a motion to extend the time. Number 1.
Hello, everyone. I thank you for passing this because it's going to mean a lot to a transgender kid who face problems other people don't face. And a few people will be speaking today about problems trans kids face. Also, I want to say that according to Newsweek, May 11th, 2023, their investigative writer, Anna Skinner, said there were 333 million citizens in the United States. She went on to further report about the organization Save Girls Sports, because that organization stated in the entire United States, there were 5 trans athletes in high school sports. And that organization is anti-trans. And that's the number they came up with. So we're talking about being angry, making rules, when there's 5 in the United States of America. And to add a little humor, in 2023, there have been 510 reports deemed credible in the United States by the Department of Defense of UFOs. So 5 trans athletes in girls' sports in high school, 510 credible UFO reports seems more likely we'll have an alien invasion than a takeover of trans kids and athletes. But that's not all I want to say. I want to call everybody out that is saying, oh, we have to wait to January. We have to wait for January. I know, and you know, you're on a list created by a Kansas judge that says there's a Moms for Liberty board member on a school district. You will be exempt from Title IX. So no laughing, you know it's true. You know, his name's Judge Brooms. You can look it up yourself. Yeah, okay.
All right,
So
let's try
don't
to-
say January when you've already been motivated to take steps on this policy. And you know, you're laughing. Why are you laughing?
Please, yes, please address me. I apologize, please.
Don't apologize.
No, I because you know what, it's just disrespectful.
apologize for me. Do not apologize for me. Hold the time. Do not apologize to me. You do not.
I am apologizing for the lack of respect for the speaker.
You apologize for you. You do not apologize for me. You don't have the authority.
I
to
didn't
speak for me.
apologize for you. I apologize for the lack of respect.
No, you don't get to apologize for how I'm behaving because I'm allowed to be laughing at what I'm seeing.
That's fine.
That's what I'm allowed on my computer and on my
We should
phone.
respect community
So
members that
understand.
are at the podium. Please
There
continue.
are community members.
I think I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 2.
No, like it's hilarious. I'm not even on the mouse.
Number 2. Just going to ask you to press the microphone button. Thank you.
Good
Do you wanna
evening,
pull-
school board members,
Yes, thank you.
neighbors, and community members. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I've been one for over 20 years. I'm privileged to work with several members of the Connecticut community. I'm here to speak about the basic human rights and protections of your students. Our teens who identify as transgender face many obstacles, ranging from rejection and bullying to physical and emotional abuse, both at school and at home. Our trans youth are at high risk of substance misuse, depression, anxiety, self-harm, and suicide. It is imperative that we protect our trans youth and provide them with safe schools where they can learn, grow, and thrive. Being a transgendered youth and being the parent and a caregiver of a trans youth is not easy. Our youth are often the victims of cruel teasing, bullying, and degradation. They are at risk of physical attack. Sometimes they live in daily fear of being found out, rejected, and outcast from friends and family. They face constant fear, social isolation, and bodily harm, sometimes starting as early as 5 years old. Some of our trans youth are fortunate to have loving and accepting families. Their families may have chronic worries about their kids' safety. As a parent, I am very familiar with the constant worry that comes with loving a young person. Imagine if that young person was often the target of verbal and physical assault. The fear that your child can be harmed simply because of who they are is debilitating. Some of our trans youth have families that cannot accept them. Their family members may be the perpetrators of violence towards that youth. I've spent years working with kids and families, and looking into the eyes of a kid who has been abused by a family member is one of the hardest things. The physical pain coupled with the emotional betrayal is devastating. These kids are not safe at home. Their homes are the source of fear, abuse, and violence. School are often kids' safe spaces. Schools can be the places where our youth find familiar and comforting routines and adults that they can trust. Schools must protect our trans youth. It is imperative that Connecticut keep language in its policies that affirm the safety of its trans students. Trans youth face serious dangers if they are outed to people who cannot accept them. Schools are compelled to protect their students. Taking language out of policies that protect kids is unacceptable. I implore this board to act on behalf of our kids and maintain protections that keep everyone safe, including our trans kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 3.
Good evening. My name is Emily Hocker, and I'm an undergraduate student at Stony Brook University in the School of Social Welfare. I'm speaking on behalf of a collective of concerned social work students regarding the potential change in policy for LGBTQIA+ students. To enact new rules and change the inclusive language used to reference all students would allow them to suffer egregious consequences. Students would not be able to survive without safeguards that protect them and their identities. I'm an alum from Connecticut High School, class of 2022, and from my experiences during and since graduating high school, I have learned a lot about this important stage of life. As a teenager, I remember experiencing incredibly high rates of stress from decisions about college, as well as deciding what person I wanted to be in a constantly changing world. During this time, students learning about themselves and what way they wish to present themselves. It is at this time that it is most important that schools provide communities for students to feel connected and safe, as opposed to fearful and ashamed. Regardless of your beliefs on gender or sexual identity, it is essential to protect our students now more than ever from harmful discrimination that shames them rather than raising them up. There are several important people in my life, and I'm sure everyone here, who have shared stories with me, and I can say with confidence that without proper protections in place would be greatly impacted. I hope that my message is received with open hearts, as well as considering advocating with empathy is the highest form of knowledge and power. And another thing I'd like to say, suicide can be preventable. We heard so much about the increasing rates of self-harm and suicide in our school districts, which is just egregious to hear. It can be preventable, and I strongly encourage that the community take a closer look at the causes before we see the effects. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Number 4.
Hello. I just wanted to kind of follow up with what Emily had said and just like reiterate that once something is out there, people aren't protected and we really don't know people's lives and what they face at home. And like they said, school is supposed to be a safe space for everyone. And I think it's beyond important for people to feel safe and be protected. So that's it. Short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 5.
Try not to get emotional. I've watched you guys on these meetings for years. It's just been so hard to watch it from home, to not physically come here and not get too emotional. I am a parent of a transgender kid at Connecticut High School. My opinion is different than a lot of these members. My child has been treated fairly. He doesn't participate in sports for the fact that we do not want to cause conflict. He is female to male. I don't agree with books in libraries for young adults. I think it should be separated. We have different opinions about that. I think it should be up to the parent individual to bring that into their home. I also have different opinions about the teachers educating these children and making them transgender. I do not believe the teachers are doing this. I believe the children come to teachers in confidence because they can speak to these adults in confidence, and this is how they build this rapport. And if a teacher hears this, he feels safe knowing that a child can confide in him and brings it to the authorities and makes that child feel comfortable. So for me, I don't point fingers at anyone for my child being transgender. I love my child to death. But I do have concerns about how you all are acting, and I do need my child to have rights. So when I see you passionate about sports,
just address me, please.
These are just high school sports, and these aren't the Olympics. You know, these are just children trying to participate and socialize. The only groups that my child participates in are of the arts. My child's in National Honor Society, Art Society, Triumph, 98.7 average. Just a child trying to become part of a community and excel. So I love this community. I love our district. I do wish we had a gender-neutral bathroom on the first floor. I have to drive to school to take my child to go to the bathroom sometimes because the one on the second floor is occupied by people vaping. And then when he's at theater till 8 o'clock at night, he's got to find a custodian to go to the bathroom, or I have to come in and drive him to Wendy's. There are real conditions that have to be taken care of for children, and not these sports things. This is a child being, not feeling well in school and not feeling welcome. And my child does feel all these things. And I just want to say thank you for listening to me. Sorry, I'm not conveying my message clearly, but I do love the district. I love everything that we've been doing. My child feels welcome, safe, and complete in this school. And I hope you continue doing what you're doing.
Thank you for sharing. Your message was conveyed beautifully. Thank you. Number 6. 6? 7? Oh, here's 6. It's because there's 2 public comments.
Hello. I want to thank the board for voting yes earlier. And I want to say I'm glad the issues of mental health for students and suicide prevention came up because it does relate directly to what I came to talk about. I'm concerned about the effort to remove state guidelines regarding the safety of LGBT and trans students. I'm concerned about the prejudice against trans students I've seen here for over a year, and that I've seen especially on display tonight. And at this time, and on Long Island especially, it's crucial that we protect and trust in the words of our LGBTQ youth. Over the past week alone, I've seen people through my community, especially trans people, more scared for their lives and their rights than they've been in a long time. I think there really needs to be sensitivity to that rather than the opposite. I don't like lies being spread around Prop 1 We call her entitled to our own opinions, but not our own facts. We live in an environment where anti-LGBT and anti-science disinformation has been allowed to spread like wildfire, and people are hurt by the most are the children and our own children, and this is prevalent in our schools. Sadly, Long Island has been a large target of disinformation, with the members of our community being influenced by alt-right hate groups, such as the Moms for Liberty in our neighborhood and in our schools. Trans people are targeted especially, and trans people are targeted especially, and when they're already one of the most targeted groups. And it's especially personal to me because if it wasn't for the courage of many trans people, I wouldn't have the rights I do today. And I hope that we're able to continue to have these rights despite many efforts to take them away. So many LGBT people don't feel safe in their own neighborhoods, in their own houses, and for adults in their place of work. Students shouldn't have to feel that way in their own school. I think that there was courageous things said today and things that are very discriminatory. I think that we should be able to expect better of our adults. I don't know how many times the LGBT students of this district and their parents will have to be asked to be treated as equals and as full human beings before things change. And that's such a simple ask, and it shouldn't be something that has to be asked for over and over and over. And no matter how many times people are told no, we are always going to ask for equal treatment and equal rights, because that never stops being a priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 7.
Hi there. I want to thank the board for the three of you for voting yes on those important pieces of information. We can talk about it again in January, which was the point all along. In terms, it was an interesting special ed presentation about the number of kids who are dealing with mental health problems. And you have to know that trans LBGT plus trans kids have an awful lot of mental health problems and need an awful lot of help. So if we're committed to this, then let's do it properly. I have one question regarding, they keep referring to the attorney. So I'll ask you, in terms of the language of all students, that is the language we ought to be using. Is that true? Or that's not my question. Can you explain that?
I'm just going to ask for the microphone for the people at home, right?
Okay, so I don't want to start a slippery slope. I don't answer questions
Right.
by the community. I mean that with all respect. If the board wants me to answer a specific question, I'd be happy to do that to the extent that I can. But I don't want to get into back and forth between myself and the community. I am your attorney.
I would like an explanation of the language of those terms being removed and replaced with the word all. Can you direct that to the attorney? And just an explanation of it.
Right. So that was the way we were explained to the attorney, and the attorney could correct me if I'm wrong. That was an optional statement that was put in, and we had the option to not put the statement in, to put the statement saying all, or to put the statement saying all, including transgender and gender expansive students.
Right.
So we had the option of one of the three languages.
And which is the one you ultimately decided on?
All, including transgender and gender expansive students.
Okay. The only suggestion I have is if the wording on this and other things is all but not limited to, instead of all including LBGT plus transgender, whatever, if the wording is all but not limited to, and then list them, then it feels very inclusive to me. The word all we know is not inclusive. I mean, it's in the Constitution that all men are created equal, which is amended how many times since to be more inclusive. I'm trying. Sorry?
No shouting from the audience, please.
I'm trying to,
And I just need you to wrap up your comments. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to suggest that there might be ways to reword that would satisfy more people.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Number 8.
Hi. I just want to introduce myself. I think my opinion is probably apparent because I'm wearing this shirt. I am a licensed master social worker. I went to Stony Brook School of Social Welfare. I educated myself 3 years getting my master's degree, 4 years getting my bachelor's degree with a concentration in gender studies. I am also an athlete. I play roller hockey. I play with people who are on the USA roller hockey team. I play pretty intensely. I was also a coach for a young woman for the New York Islanders. I agree. There should not be boys and girls sports. And I say that because I'm a transgender man and I do not believe that I should be in a woman's locker room. I don't think that I look like I should be there, and I don't think there should be any verbiage that says so. It doesn't make sense to me at all. I also want to make it apparent that at this level, sports is a social place, and for transgender people, research shows that social support is what decreases their suicide rate and their suicidal ideation. That mental health seems to be what we're priding ourselves on here, and I pride myself on it too. If we want to decrease the rate of suicidal ideation and suicide for trans youth, it's letting them feel supported. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Number 9. Number 10. Okay. We will have another public comment portion at the end. Moving on to discussion items. Any student government updates?
No, of course not. Hello. I'm Michaela. I'm Michaela. Back again. I'm going to talk about a few things today. First of all, the senior trip meeting went amazing for the seniors that are going on their trip. They gave in their first payment, and the second payment is due December 4th. December 4th. Our high school Thanksgiving food drive is ending this week. We will see what classroom wins our competition. We have a little competition going on for each of the classes. And even after our Thanksgiving drive, you can still help out by giving food into the high school. The theme for Winter Spectacular has been decided, and it is decades. So the classes are all meeting to figure out a theme and put on an amazing light show that you all should come to this year. And lastly, Tri-M is having a toy drive, once again, 4th annual toy drive for the Ronald McDonald House. You can drop off any toy that is unopened and unused, and if you would like to donate any toys, you can drop them off outside the main office. There's also an Amazon list. There's also an Amazon wish list that you can buy from up until November 20th. If you'd like, I do have a flyer that I printed out just for you guys. I just have to, sorry.
I'll take the flyer, and I'd like to put it on the high school website if possible, Dr. Centimore.
I think there is. There's a beautiful colored copy. I couldn't print out the colored copy, too much ink. But there is a code on it if you want to look at the wish list. But that's all I have.
Thank you. We'll get a nice colored copy of it and we'll put it on the website tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Do we have anyone from ORBA, SEPTA, or PTA Council? All right, Superintendent's update, Dr. Centimore.
Thank you very much. I want to once again thank Ms. O'Hara and Ms. Pisani for their fabulous presentations tonight. And certainly kudos to all of our staff and all of those departments, student services and special education. I hope everyone enjoyed the Veterans Day holiday weekend. Thank you to all of our servicemen and women for keeping our nation free and safe. Thank you to all of our schools, the administration and staff for the wonderful events you all held to honor our veterans. The appreciation and respect our schools continue to demonstrate to our service members is truly a hallmark of our community. Also want to thank, we had 5 members of our high school choir yesterday when school was off, and yes, it was the holiday. The Oakdale Civics had their meeting last night, and we had 5 of our students go sing the national anthem, and it was great to see them and thank them for that. Congratulations to the cast, crew, and staff of the high school drama production, Almost Maine. It was a fabulous production. It was great to see the return of our drama production. You know, I'm a big proponent of the arts. We have a fabulous musical program at all levels, but the drama production, had been dormant for just a couple of years, and it's back. It's back strong. They'll have another production in the spring. We're certainly still going strong with all of our Academic Honor Society induction ceremonies. We have a plethora of more departmental ones coming up over the next week and change. We're very excited for later this week, with the high school and the first annual Alumni of Distinction ceremony, wishing them well, and thank you to the high school administration for bringing that forward. And then, of course, next week we have our freshman awareness, and we're looking forward to that as well. It's been quite a postseason for many of our varsity athletic teams. Congratulations to all of our student athletes and coaches on wonderful seasons. Several of our teams advanced pretty deep into the playoffs, and we also had many individual athletes qualified for distinctions as well. As always, we thank our PTA, SEPTA, Orba, Athletic Boosters, Rotary, and Civics for all that they do for our students, staff, and community. One of the things our district takes pride in is advocacy, and to that end, I've prepared an advocacy letter on a pertinent topic on regionalization planning for the board's consideration tonight, and I will read the letter that's for your consideration right now for the public to hear. Dear Commissioner Rosa, who's our New York State Commissioner of Education, on behalf of the Connecticut Central School District's community, staff, and students, please accept this correspondence as our formal expression of opposition regarding regionalization planning and the utilization of emergency regulatory powers for its hurried implementation. We also request that you strongly consider the feedback that has been provided by numerous school districts and coalitions across the state, including the letter from the Coalition of New York State School Board members, originally dated October 29, 2024, and since updated with additional signees. While the New York State Education Department has been communicating, including through the local BOCES, with whom we have always had extensive collaboration, that the intentions of regionalization planning are to foster quality educational opportunities, informed decision-making, and support for schools, there is a growing belief that this is ultimately going to be offered as a panacea to districts negatively impacted through the loss of state aid resulting from potential changes in the foundation aid formula. While we certainly appreciate how some districts, such as those in rural or remote areas, can truly benefit from such planning, for Connecticut and many districts here on Long Island, maintaining local control is essential to meeting our students' and communities' specific needs. Connecticut has robust academic offerings, including advanced placement, enrichment, intervention services, and renowned music, art, and theater programs. It is very difficult to have faith in the intentions when there have been very few specific details provided. It is reminiscent of when Common Core standards and APPR were rolled out, and the State Education Department stated, "We will build a plane while we fly it." While regionalization planning is being presented as a 30,000-foot consideration, it clearly lacks a well-structured runway to ensure a smooth landing for school districts. As the phases of the changes to graduation measures roll out over the next 5 years, we can only hope that each one will have the detailed clarity that this initiative clearly lacks, as well as the necessary funding support essential for successful implementation. Furthermore, any potential divergence of resident tax contributions away from Connecticut students is completely unacceptable. As a district, we recognize that it is the governor's office driving the review and potential change to the future financing of public education. However, as Commissioner of New York State Education Department, you can certainly communicate to her office that centralized regional control, mergers, and consolidations won't foster equitable and enhance access to educational opportunities for our students, but a reduction in unfunded mandates as well annual fair and sufficient state aid provided to locally controlled schools will. After all, a well-informed populace instructed through a quality public education system is the foundation to American democracy. We appreciate your time and immediate attention to this critically urgent matter. So that will be for the board's consideration and the agenda tonight. Speaking of advocacy, about a year ago, we sent a letter advocating for our school nurses to be provided with greater latitude with basic interventions, such as applying something as simple as Vaseline to chapped lips. The majority of our nurses happen to be RNs, and in that letter, we accidentally omitted including that designation. So apologies for that. And as always, we appreciate everything that all of our nurses do on behalf of our students and families. So I referenced this in the advocacy letter on regionalization planning. We recently received some updated information from the state on the new graduation measures, which they're calling Inspired New York. And that included a phased-in timeline. In a moment, I'm going to ask our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction, Ms. Poppy, to speak a little bit on that, and also to speak about the district's new revised, updated elementary report card that is being implemented this year. So wishing everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving and a great start to the holiday season. The winter concerts will be starting, and we have a plethora of them starting December 2nd. So good luck to all of our musicians. And I know that myself, as the superintendent of schools, I give thanks for being part of a very special school district and community. Thank you very much. Ms. Poppy?
Thanks, Dr. Centimore. So a bit of background. Last Monday, not yesterday, but November 4th, the New York State Board of Regents had their monthly meeting. And during this meeting, they received a presentation from a set of constituents of the state's Blue Ribbon Commission for graduation measures. This Blue Ribbon Commission was defined in 2019. COVID waylaid their work. And if you remember, just prior to COVID at the state level, we were talking about redefining what it means to be a New York State graduate. And there was an especial focus at that time on our Regents exam system. This Blue Ribbon Commission reconvened as of late, and they put forth a series of recommendations for the consideration of the Board of Regents. It's important to note that New York Inspires, which is the plan to transform education in New York State that has been offered by the Blue Ribbon Commission, has neither been approved nor adopted by the Board of Regents. It was simply a hearing of these different types of opportunities within this plan at this time. The plan consists of 4 major transformations that does span a 5-year timeline. This happens to be the initial year. We are in it currently, according to the proposal. And the full implementation of this plan occurs with the cohort of students that are entering grade 9 in the fall of 2029. The 4 transformations include the adoption of the New York State Portrait of a Graduate, which is the definition of essentially who our students will be, what their different competencies will be. There are 7 of them when they exit their high school experience. There's a portion of this plan that's devoted to redefining credits and learning experiences for students, sunsetting current diploma requirements, and in an effort to finally move to 1 New York State high school diploma. This would mean a decoupling of graduation requirements from our current Regents exam standard. The committee members, or the Blue Ribbon Commission representatives, kind of took the Board of Regents through this phased approach. And so, as I mentioned before, if adopted, we are currently sitting in a planning year. And this year, we wouldn't, according to this proposal, see too much transformation. However, the commission has asked the Board of Regents to consider allowing for students who experience a traumatic life event prior to their June Regents exams of this year, that's June 2025, to be eligible for an exemption from those exams. That's the major shift for this year. We await this commission's release of the definitions of each component of that portrait of a graduate. And this is promised in future meetings, so we'll be keeping an eye on this. I also hope to kind of convene a conversation through the Connect Curriculum Committee. We had our first meeting last week, and we'll be setting a meeting in December, and I hope to explore some of these transformations with the committee as they come through and more information is provided. In addition, it's important to note that, again, this is sort of a recommendation and it's nothing that's official, but there is a fiscal component that kind of aligns with what Dr. Sanamore shared regarding the reorganization and this sort of centralization of experiences for students across the state. So we'll be watching closely and I'll provide updates as they become available. The commission itself did acknowledge that the plan is a 30,000-foot plan at this time. So there is very little that's been shared that is concrete, including an action plan to arrive at each one of these pillars of transformation that the committee is recommending. So it is a we'll see kind of sentiment at this time, but again, I'll provide updates as they become available. In other exciting news, this is committee work that is internal, a group of teachers representing all of our schools and all of our grade levels and all of our areas of expertise met on committee across last spring and into this fall to revise our elementary report card against New York State's current learning standards, current battery of learning standards. And our product is just in the finishing stages. We are essentially recommending that the report card be sent home with students, which will be a change in practice for our children in grades K through 5. Recently, we relied on the transmission of information through eSchool, and the committee recommended and recognized that such an important document should really end up in the hands of our elementary parents. So we'll be moving forward with that. And in addition, parents can expect to receive that document just prior to the winter break in December. So we're proud of the work. It did represent quite a bit of discussion, of acknowledgement that we may have some differing opinions, across the district in terms of how we highlight and what we highlight through the curriculum in our classrooms, but we were able to arrive at each grade level at a battery of different standards that we feel confident are supported through our current coursework and our current practices. So thanks to that committee for engaging in that really tough work and those difficult conversations and sort of arriving at a place where we feel that the documents that have been produced do represent what is taking place in our classrooms on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you. And the report card is going home with the K through 5 students will also still be available on eSchool.
Yes, of course. It will still be available electronically. The addition is the backpacked report card in addition to the electronic version through Parent Portal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Senamore. Thank you, Ms. Poppy. All right, Board of Ed committee reports. Mental Health Advisory Committee, Ms. DiLorenzo, Ms. Torregrossa.
Okay. So we had our last meeting. We've changed things around this year, which I actually thought was really a great change. We want to hear student voices. So the meetings are going to kind of move throughout the year to different buildings so that we can kind of hear their take and what they're seeing and what they need in their schools. And we were at OBMS this past meeting. We had 6 students, which I have to say, of course I'm not going to say the names, but parents, you know your children, if they were there, incredible kids. I'm so proud of them that they came to sit there in a group of a lot of, I don't know how many, what were there, like 24 adults in there. And they spoke with confidence. They were I'm so proud that they were there. And the insight that they gave us was really incredible. So I think that's a great move for the committee. Some of the things that we got out of what some things they were saying, like more building level events to bring unity to the student body. We talk about also engaging students, not just, any students with like a disability or anything. Awareness, of course, is key, but not even just being aware, but engaging with them. And I kind of think bringing unity to the student body would help with that. So a lot of good things came out of this meeting. I do have to say, one of the things that I do want to see is just examples by the adults in the buildings to portray positive behaviors to the students as far as acceptance, and just treating students and showing them how to being an example for them of how to accept the students that maybe have a tic or have something else. So I think it was interesting to hear some things, and I want to see, some improvements with that, accountability. But I do think it's a great idea, and I don't remember whose idea it was to move from building to building, but it's fantastic. I'm looking forward to the next one. I don't know. I'm not sure where we're going next. Do you remember what she said? I can't remember, but I think it's a fantastic idea. We're going to, I think, hit both. We did OBMS. We're going to go to RMS, the high school, and I think one of the elementaries we're going to do and kind of alternate our meetings. So it was a very good meeting. I don't know, Melissa, I know you don't have a voice, but if you want to add.
That's pretty much covered everything. I agree that the students that were there were incredible, and the way that they spoke was just, I was blown away by their insight and just the way they said everything with their chest, you know what I mean? They were not afraid to be in that room, and I probably would have been, and I'm really proud of all of them that were there.
Thank you. I do love the idea of moving from the school buildings to school buildings with the student input. I love that. Curriculum committee, Ms. Inatelli.
I just wanted to tell everybody before I go on that I am leaving soon. I actually was on vacation and came right from the airport, and so I'm a little tired, but I wanted to be here to vote on these policies. So I'm not being rude when I get up in a little while. The committee meeting, there was a lot of new members that came. I would like everybody in the community to know that they're more than welcome. Ms. Poppy changed it up a little bit this time. She really brought us together and had everybody speaking. Some of the topics and the things that the community members would like to hear about is the whole child approach, making sure the students know there are different paths in life, letting every child know they can have a successful future with a local diploma versus a Regents diploma versus an advanced Regents, exposure to different careers, not just college-bound careers. We talked about the revised report card. Just so parents do know, the 3rd through 5th grade will now have numerical grades. This is actually going to help when the students go into middle school, that the middle school teachers will now have a better assessment of the students coming in. We also spoke about the Blue Ribbon and the Inspire. And I think that's about it. Yeah, that sums it up.
All right, thank you. So my first board discussion item is kind of committee related. So the mental health committee is developing the developmental disabilities committee.
Marisol, what about the following literacy?
Yes, I was just going to do the committee because it's with the committees. So we don't have any Board of Ed reps on there right now. So anybody that would like to be a rep?
I wanted to, I believe I was the first one that emailed it.
Yeah, I wanted to too, but I'm more than willing to share and let every member have a turn. So since it's a new committee, if we'd like to rotate through, I'm okay with that.
I prefer not to rotate. I prefer to have it like a regular committee.
Yeah, we could have 2 board members and an alternate.
If you want to have 2 alternates, have 2 alternates. So, and make it where if if it's me and you, April, then 2 people be opposite us. And if I can't make it, then Jackie D goes. If you can't make it, Melissa goes, or Marisol, or whatever.
Yeah, I'm okay with the 2 alternates.
And do it where the alternates are contingent on which one of us isn't going to be there.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, it doesn't be contingent.
No, it can't be contingent
Right, not
because what if
No, but then if Jackie can't be there,
then Melissa can go, or if Melissa is, if Melissa, or I can go, whoever the alternate is.
Okay, so
So Jackie Napolitano Ferno for Board of Ed rep and Ms. Inatelli, and who wants to be an alternate?
I would love to be an alternate, but I know this between the 3 of us, there's
I know for me, it's challenging the times that the committee is meeting,
Similarly,
so
I would love to be on it, but similarly, that falls right at like a departmental meeting. I have at work on that day and time. So I'm okay with not being one of the two alternates for that reason. I'm probably the least
I'll
likely to
in-
be able to go.
Okay. I don't
Right.
mind being off.
So I don't want to commit to an alternate because those times are challenging for me. So Jackie D for the alternate.
Sure.
And then Ms. Inatelli and Ms. Napolitano-Ferno as the board reps. Perfect. Okay, so now we have a follow-up on last month's or last meeting's discussion items. So the literacy, Ms. Napolitano-Ferno.
I had asked a few questions for Mrs. Poppy. Does iReady give us our literacy scores? Do we have the ability to compare against other districts our size? I had stated that I understand we're unable to really compare our district scores well because we have a very large opt-out rate. I wanted to know about the state test, would give us that data. I wanted to see if you had any information on, I'm an opt-out parent, but I understand for those parents who've opted out in the beginning because it was thought to be used as a metric for measuring teacher performance. However, we know that no child learns the same, so it would be poor judgment to base a teacher's teaching skills off of that. So I wanted to know what is an update on the questions I had brought to you from last meeting to answer for this meeting.
Sure, and I hope that Mrs. O'Hara's presentation answered some of the part two questions there.
Yes, you don't have to go over the dyslexia because that was my questions about dyslexia in literacy. I was very happy that she had hit on it. And I'm happy to see how far we've come over the years. Because I like I said, I was here when we didn't have any kind of programs and where we were sending kids out. So seeing how many programs we're bringing in over and over, that's exceptional.
That's great to hear. Thank you. So yes, iReady does provide us with a screening, a diagnostic assessment of our students' progress in ELA and mathematics K through 5. It's a diagnostic assessment that's issued 3 times a year. And unfortunately, the only comparison point that we're able to gather is against a national norm, right? So it's sort of a nationally derived number. We cannot compare ourselves to other local school districts through that particular platform. I hope that takes care of
Thank you. That does
piece.
answer that piece for me
Okay.
for the literacy of iReady.
We also use AimsWeb as a diagnostic assessment for ELA in conjunction with iReady. So iReady does not contain a marker for fluency, and another product named AimsWeb does that. So we use the full battery of AimsWeb assessments for our kindergartners, and we use the ORF, or the oral reading fluency assessment, for our students in grades 1 through 5. This helps us determine where students are performing skills-wise, where their reading skill is sitting in a number of different categories. If issues are earmarked within that diagnostic screener, then we make a plan for the student according to their different skill levels relative to different areas within their reading capacity. So for instance, if a student is demonstrating that they are having an issue within reading, one of the first things we'll do is issue a core phonics screener and a phonological awareness screener to kind of get to the heart of where the issues are. And from there, we'll make a determination about how to best service that deficiency. So is it through regular classroom support, a tier 1 intervention that's involving the teacher? Is it through an intervention that's delivered by our awesome instructional interventionists, who are operating in that capacity and giving that strong handoff to our classroom teachers? Or is the need a little more severe? And does that student come to the table during an IST and require or is recommended for reading services, a tier 2 type of intervention? So that diagnostic assessment does allow us to kind of view student skill level in a very granular way. And that's how we use it.
Thank you very much for answering. Appreciate it.
Thank you. U.S. government, Ms. Iannatelli.
Yeah, so I know that our U.S. government classes help the students to sign up so that they can vote when they turn 18. I want to know if the classes also taught them how to vote. If they could, okay. If they could, if they don't, if they could possibly bring in a mock sheet, show them how to fill out a form. You know, with the election that passed, it made me realize that many, some adults don't know, and, you know, many kids do not know how to vote and how to fill out a sheet.
This is something that I can certainly bring to Mr. Kassane to follow up, not only with our next national election, next presidential election, but certainly with upcoming local elections.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
We just need to make sure, we had in the past some issues with some of the classrooms when we did have votes or surveys that were leaning to the right or leaning to the left. They have to stay as apolitical as possible, keeping it as, like, I remember bringing it to you guys in the past. April, it absolutely could go down a rabbit hole of politics. So yes, it's something that we say we want to stay apolitical, we need to stay apolitical. And so my point is, if we're going to do something like that with the mock, like a mock one, I think that's not a bad idea. But in doing so, let's keep it as neutral and apolitical as possible.
I don't want them to mock vote. If somebody misunderstood that, I just want them to learn how to fill out one. We're not asking them who they are voting for, or who they want to vote for. It's exposing them to the sheet, knowing that there's two sides and that they actually have to read, knowing which party, things like that. We don't want to know their political.
I think that what Ms. Napolitano-Furno is saying is that don't have the actual people that are running on the ballot. When you teach them, just have a mock name on there.
More of a mechanical presentation than anything else.
Right. More of, like I said, mock, meaning keep it, not bringing in a real ballot, because unfortunately we've seen that even with our students, some students can have passionate debates. I mean, I know that I have a student that's a freshman and he's very passionate about politics. So you do have some students who will be very passionate. You want to make sure that you don't cause something over teaching them. Let's teach them a mock one. I understand, like, some people don't understand it. You got to keep it as apolitical as possible. We've had issues in the past. That's why I'm saying.
Mr. Khalifa did get some write-in votes from the pickleball party, so, I mean, you know.
Good job, sir. Yeah, I do have to agree with that. And I think that's all part of that, as we say, that quality control, because as we've seen over the years, I know I've seen how politics have found its way into the classroom where it doesn't belong. There's that little, where it's leaking in. And yes, I agree. I think that's a little tough. We have to be very careful about how we do that, because we want to make sure, as you said, it stays as apolitical as possible. I mean, ideally, it would be nice, like, parents take their kids to vote, they want to, and they teach them. That would be nice. But we don't always have that. So I understand bringing that in. But absolutely, because of that, 30,000-foot view, we want to make sure the politics stay out, strictly mechanical.
Thank you. Do you still want to speak on Proposition 1, Ms. DiLorenzo, or we're good because we did it already?
No, we're good. Thank you.
Okay. The regionalization letter, Ms. Napolitano-Furno?
Well, actually, it's going to be regionalization. I want to speak in regards. I have some bullet points. I had a meeting with the coalition, one of the coalition members, one of the presidents in charge, Jackie DiLorenzo, and I have been speaking to them. So I wanted to be clear on some of the key components that people in the district didn't understand, and it's good to have some talking points. So in New York State, in the New York State Register for Regulations, the Board of Regents published an emergency regulation for regionalization of schools. In the 1023 New York State Register, the New York State Education Department Board of Regents published a proposed regulation granting control to the 37 New York State BOCES superintendents over districts within each county or region, requiring a deliberate and sweeping takeover of New York State's education system. This shift will centralize power through BOCES. effectively removing control from locally elected boards of education and diluting district autonomy. Once these regulations become permanent, districts would have no option to opt out. The regionalization plans will be singular for each of the 37 districts, and BOCES will have authority over every aspect of district management, including pooling of resources and potential for authority over curriculum, all levels of academic offerings, special services, regionalization, reorganization, finances, athletics, transportation, capital projects, staffing, and salaries. All would lie solely with the BOCES superintendent as the supervisor of our component district superintendents. We simply do not know because the language is vague and broad. There is no definitive plan or guardrails given from state education department. If the regulation passes, this would eliminate the elected powers of local board of educations as independent governing districts into parts of a larger regional entity. Currently, local board of eds elected by the community hold full authority over district finances, curriculum approval, and policy. District superintendents report directly to their local board of eds, which also elect BOCES board members and vote to approve BOCES budget. Importantly, the BOCES boards and superintendents do not interfere with the individual district operations or budgets. If these regulations become permanent, this structure will fundamentally shift, granting BOCES full control over local district operations. It will be removing autonomy from local board of eds and altering the balance of power in New York State education. The deadline to oppose the regulations is set at 11/24. All districts are currently required to submit their strengths and needs tools to their regional BOCES superintendent by 12/6, aligning with the emergency regulations set to become permanent in January, followed by the proposed regulations shortly thereafter. I vehemently oppose any form of regionalization imposed through state-mandated regulations which undermine local control and governance. This centralization of authority would allow BOCES to compel all districts to adopt initiatives regarding curriculum, regional reorganization, finances, athletics, transportation, capital projects, staffing, and salaries, regardless of local needs and values. These regulations circumvent legislative oversight, stripping duly elected school boards of their authority and dismantling independent school districts across New York State. We as a board must act now to safeguard local governance and preserve the autonomy of our schools. These regulations are an abuse of power, sidestepping the legislative process and undermining the authority of New York State's elected school boards. They constitute an overreach that threatens the foundation of local control in our state's education system, and we must advocate against their implementation to preserve local governance and community accountability in education. For those who didn't understand regionalization, I wanted them to understand more talking points. I also wanted to bring to the board a recommendation that other Board of Eds have decided to hire. So far, 4 districts have already retained. Nick, who was an independent attorney, he did the amicus brief. 10 other districts are in talks at all levels and actually voting this week. Focus is bipartisan. This is not political. It's a threat to New York. The power shift will turn education upside down. The low end of joining the lawsuit would be $40,000. It would be spread out and it would be split amongst all of the districts that decide to participate. If there would be appeals, the absolute total amount for everyone to split at the very top. So the low end would be 40, the top end would be 125,000. So far, if we lose local control, the way this is written, they can hire or fire pretty much your superintendent from BOCES having the control. They want to share staff. They want to make a plan from Eastern BOCES, Suffolk BOCES. There's 51 districts that are part of Eastern Suffolk BOCES. So I am bringing forward to the board that I would like to look into joining this lawsuit. I understand that many people don't like to spend money on lawsuits and all this, but this is something that is going to hurt our district. It's going to hurt our employees. It's going to hurt our teachers. It's going to hurt our super. It's going to hurt our students. So what I am suggesting is everybody do your research, and at the next board meeting, like I said, I would love to vote on something like this tonight, but understand that this board is not maybe as familiar with what a regional organization is. Again, it's something that would really take the power out of our hands and could create bigger problems, including many lawsuits. So this could be a way that if you had 15 districts that decided to do this, there are already 4 retained them. So you're already at when you look at the numbers, it's just something to keep an eye on because, again, there's going to be many more districts that join this. I don't want to be the last one, like we just were, because me and Jackie decided to go on the letter before everybody else because we didn't feel we needed to research something that we already should have known about since September.
So, as everybody knows, I'm definitely against spending money. I definitely 100% agree that it could hurt our district and for so many reasons. I do think that we need time, though. They're gathering everybody's feedback. We're sending our letter. We have all now a part of and signed the coalition. I think, need time to see what they're going to do with that. The Board of Regents is actually not meeting till February of next year. I can't see signing up open only 4 districts. That's 10,000 apiece at this point. So unfortunately, I can't condone spending money yet because of the fact that we really aren't sure where they're going to go. And they're trying to get the feedback, and they might not even go that far.
I was on the call with you, part of the coalition, and I absolutely agree with everything that you had said, and I am for going this route because if we don't find a way to stop this from happening, I don't even know if we'll be sitting up here. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. You might have an entire new group of people sitting up here determining what's going on in Connecticut, people that have no clue what the needs of our community are. Our students, our teachers. We're going to share teachers. We're going to share resources, and I'm no, absolutely not. So I would be okay with voting on this tonight. I mean, I have with all due respect, I've researched it, but I do understand needing time for it. But I do want to say that I am absolutely for going this route. I know we always, save money, absolutely, but this is something that in the end is going to cost us more in our just being Connecticut. And we're going to lose so much more if we don't, if this comes to pass. So much more than the 10,000 we can possibly put out there to pay. I think it's a very good investment for us to save our community and to keep our local control, retain our local control.
Well, like they said, if 15 people join, you're not looking at.
It's going to be way less.
It's going to end if more districts. This is across Long Island. This isn't across, and this could be across all of New York. But something that people need to understand. I understand the idea of saving money. Just understand where this goes. This isn't about saving money. This is about saving our district. This is about making sure that Connecticut's reserves don't become all of Suffolk County's reserves, right? See, Bob, look, thank you, Mr. Hauser. People shaking their head. No, because it's a true. For those who understand it, then you understand that they could literally take the money and bring it to a district that to feel that they may feel that there's not enough equity in that district, so they take it from us. They could take our teachers and change their salaries. There are things they could do that is not good. And like I said, I would not want to hear that we are sharing teaching staff. We are sharing support staff. We are understaffed as it is in a lot of ways. I'm sorry, but for me, knowing that we have the money to do this, we have the ability to do this, to protect our taxpayers' money, to protect our reserves, I'm a yes, 100%.
So I understand that regionalization is a threat to current Board of Eds as they are. I would be willing to listen to this attorney, to have him come into our executive and to speak to us.
I was going to similarly say, I understand the risk. I just would like if you could even share what you guys got from the meeting you were at with the rest of us, just so we at least know, we're making an informed decision on what we're spending the money on, but I'm not saying yes, no. I just don't know enough about what you guys heard for me
But
to.
I need the
comment.
attorney to come speak.
Same.
I need the attorney, I need from the horse's mouth.
Absolutely. Like I said, I can look into that tomorrow. I've been a member of the Coalition for Board of Eds. The letter that you guys joined, that is the group that I have been part of since I've been on the board. Since I actually, it's 6 months after I was on the board, because it came about during COVID. So they're an exceptional group of people. They are doing their best to hold the line, and we really need to join. And other districts are joining. So it is something that we should look into, and it should be maybe look into doing a special meeting, because this isn't something we can wait on.
I would do a special meeting, especially considering that I think January, the dates are coming up. So I would absolutely, before doing a special meeting, to have him come in.
That's fine. Would you mind sharing with the rest of the board what you have, and with Ms. Cirillo, the contact for the attorney, we can call him? Do you know who this person is at all?
It's the same attorney that did our amicus brief. It's the same attorney. You guys dealt with him.
All right. So we can,
that pro bono.
so hopefully we can do that, and then we can call a special meeting if need be.
Can I ask the board a favor? And I apologize, but I really would like to leave, and I know we have a separate vote. So is it possible that we could just skip to that separate vote before we continue with the discussions? Does anybody mind if we go to the separate vote?
I would have to call for a motion and a second to move the consent agenda. Right, that's, I would have to.
Discussion updates. We're in the middle of discussion updates.
And I'm asking a favor, if you could just do the vote. I mean,
April, I've
we
asked
have
many
changed.
things.
I'm asking one favor, can we do one vote?
After the discussions.
I don't want to have to stay, Jax. I'm asking for a favor. You're really not going to do this?
Well, I can call for a motion in a second and see how the votes go.
During the discussion, in the middle of the discussions?
To be fair to April, she just flew in from Europe. She's on a time delay and jet lagged.
And you know what, Marisol, we've never done anything like this.
We have moved meetings for everyone.
Surgery and came the next day.
I didn't even move the meeting.
Can I just,
You don't have to be here to vote on everything.
can I call for a motion and a second to move the consent agenda?
In the middle of
Motion.
a discussion item, they can do this? Absolutely ridiculous. I'm a no.
The microphone. Microphone, please. Sorry.
So just to be clear, you're not voting on anything in the moment. You're in the middle of discussion items. So as far as I could see, are there any items on the discussion list for the board that are subjects of any of the resolutions that you'd be voting on? No? So the board has the authority to rearrange, so to speak, or take items out of order on vote.
They're gonna do what they want.
I appreciate it.
Majority, they just want.
It's not about more majority, it's just about being courteous.
It's not, Marisol. Courteous is you wait till the end of the meeting. I've been here. until
Oh my God,
midnight.
I motion.
Can I call for a motion and a second to move the consent agenda to now?
Motion.
All in favor?
No.
Aye. Okay. Can I call for a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 8 of the consent agenda?
Motion.
I'm abstaining. I'm not voting on anything that we moved like this.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on the consent agenda?
I do.
Go ahead.
I wanted to discuss this number 5, which is I don't know how to pronounce it. Crest?
Oh, this is the one.
Crace.
Yeah. This one. And I after looking at it, I see it is, oh gosh, I don't know what my contract is. I had it up here. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, so this is this Catherine, I forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce it, Grace Counts Consulting. And this person is set to come on December 17th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's 3 hours for $1,500 to speak on ethics and boundaries for school social workers, and it sounds okay. This is one of the most political, and I have to say, left-leaning people I've ever seen. To give ethical talks about this, does not understand, seems to understand Proposition 1, the social media is far left. In fact, they advertise frequently things from the National Association for Social Workers, which I believe you're on the board of directors for. You're not not anymore? Oh, because I thought I saw you on the board of directors for the NASW.
Well, she was.
Yeah, that's. Oh, not anymore. Okay. All right. There's things from them that are so far left leaning, like leading the way, racial equity and social justice, police reform. It's so far left. It's more left than anything, and it's just so political. I cannot approve this person. It's too much. I can't see this person keeping the politics out, and that's what I want to do. I want to keep left, right, all of them out. So I wanted to just let the board know that this is what I see on here on her social media. You can go right on Facebook and look it up. Catherine Krase, Kathryn Krase. This is her name. Take a look. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I could definitely have that item pulled for a separate vote, Ms. DiLorenzo.
Yeah, I do. I was just going to say that.
I will definitely not be voting.
Separate vote on this.
For somebody who is speaking poorly about police, about any other issues of social justice. And I can't believe that this board and people who brought it forward didn't do the slight investigating that Jackie can do researching. Her and I had spoke about this yesterday, and this is absolutely ludicrous to bring people in that we say we don't want to bring activists in. We say we want to stay apolitical, yet we're looking to bring activists that are highly political into our school district and pay them. This is insanity.
Rosa, can you speak on this, please?
I was just going to ask, is this for CEUs for the social workers, and is it a very like I'm guessing, I'm looking as well. She's not coming in to talk about all of this when you go into professional ethics alone. Is this a professional ethics CEU for the school social workers so they can maintain their licensure?
It's a mandatory training that all social workers have to endure.
Are you saying she's the only one that can come and do it?
I don't know who can do it. That would be a question I'd have to ask Ms. Pisani.
Well, wouldn't that be something that we should look into before voting on it?
Yeah.
I'm okay with a separate vote.
Just for context to it, you have to be certified by the state to offer the CEUs. There is only certain people who really can come in and offer them, but like a lot of them are going to look similar. I would be more interested in seeing specifically what she versus others would plan to be presenting rather than, because I have a feeling almost any of them are going to read kind of similar for these professional ethics CEUs, and we're going to kind of keep hitting this wall. So I don't know if it's possible to get a little insight from whoever it is, even not be her, of what is going to be in their CEU presentation, so we kind of don't just keep hitting this spot.
I would hope that whoever we voted on wouldn't have such a public social media platform of hate against our police departments. I would certainly hope that this community that has supported our police who come in and do free assemblies and everything else, I would hope that this board would have a little bit of the smarts to say that maybe somebody who's putting this all out there like that isn't somebody we want to bring in to train our adults or children.
I just want to say that people's personal views don't usually affect their careers. Like my view in politics doesn't affect me on the board. No one knows my views. They shouldn't know my views. It shouldn't affect that. And the fact that we're judging this woman by her personal Facebook page, I just can't.
Okay, so I'm going to pull it for
everyone
a
knows
separate.
your views, you just hide them.
I'm going to pull
You
it for a
hide them
separate
well
vote.
behind emails.
So can I call for a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 4 and 6 through 8?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm waiting. I'm not moving things around.
So 2 abstentions,
not moving things around because somebody has to get home and go to
Can
school.
I call for a motion and a second to approve item 5?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Terragrosso.
Do we know if there's a deadline on when these social workers need these CEUs by, to impact their licensure?
Yes, I believe it's December 17th.
I am okay with waiting until the next meeting. I'm okay with tabling for the next meeting if that's what we have to do to get more information so we know what we're bringing in.
And just so I'm clear, what more information do you want?
I know that it has to align with the maintaining appropriate professional boundaries under NICET to cover the CEU, but I don't want anybody coming in and just like ranting on anti-police rhetoric to the social workers. I don't think that's what she's going to do, but I would like to just kind of make sure we have something that like, this is the curriculum, I'm sticking to what the state requires for them to get their CEU and move forward. I don't want there to be question of that happening because it's just, again, we're going to hit our head on this wall.
And I apologize. I'm being somewhat ignorant, so I'm going to ask one more time. You want to see the presentation she's going to be making, or do you want me to ask Ms. Pisani to find somebody else to do the training by December 17th? What exactly is it that I'm going to be doing here?
How about both? How about the presentation that
By
this one?
December 10th.
The
with Thanksgiving
presentation that this
Okay.
consulting service would provide, and or an alternative, just in case we don't agree with this presentation.
Fine. I will talk to Ms. Pisani in the morning.
Sounds good.
Ms. DiLorenzo?
Well, I'm a no for this person, so.
So you're yes for tabling?
Yeah. So,
Ms. Napolitano-Ferno?
No for the person, yes for tabling.
Ms. Anatelli?
Yes for the person, no for yes for tabling.
I am abstaining from voting and definitely for tabling. All right, thank you. Yes, back to discussion items. Freshman awareness, transparency, and budget adoption. Ms. Napolitano-Ferno.
Where are we in regards to freshman awareness? I had parents reaching out. They were very upset that we weren't doing it overnight. They were very upset that there was no communication until the 11th hour. They're very upset by everything that's going on. I went to a PTA meeting where the assistant principal of the high school spoke and stated, I believe people saw it from home because I believe it was live streamed, that it was claiming that the chaperoning is the problem. Are we having chaperoning issues? I mean, across the board. We had a parent that I thought was very smart asking, we have this policy with chaperoning and we say it's 1 to 10, 1 to 8, 1 to this, 1 to that, when we have a classroom with 1 to 25. And so we're not saying that that's what the chaperoning should be, but what are we exactly looking at? And are we being consistent across the board for all trips? Because this isn't a trip. This is in the high school with cameras everywhere for the most part, except in the classrooms and bathrooms and stuff. But you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of eyes on these students, and now it's not going to be an overnight. And what was said, which I thought was not being really truthful to our community, is at the meeting, it was said to us as parents that, you don't know if it's going to be, next year it could be overnight. Why don't we give the community the truth? If it's not overnight, it's most likely not going to be overnight. April just left and she wants to defund the freshman awareness budget line. That's a fact. So what exactly are we stating? Are we going to lie to the public some more and let them think that this is all happening? It's happening, yes, at the building level, but it's also happening that we have board members that want to defund the budget lines that were put in existence years ago. These are the same board members that approved the budget as is. I voted no to budget adoption, knowing that a lot of people are just rubber stamping everything. And they did rubber stamp it because they admitted we didn't see that. How do you not see that? It's clear as day. So again, there was also questions about paying administration. if we're paying administration to be at freshman awareness, then I'm hoping that they're actually participating. I do know that some do, but it should be a participation. If you're getting paid, are you getting paid to supervise or are you getting paid to actually be one of the chaperones?
All right, so there's a lot to unpack there. So for this year, freshman awareness is not going to be an overnight. It's next Friday. It actually starts during the school day. I believe it's like 1:25, and it goes until about 10:30. They're hoping to have a second evening sometime in April. The reason it wasn't an overnight this year was they didn't have the overnight chaperones. We haven't really discussed next year. And so, I do understand that some may have, fiscal concerns about an overnight moving forward. We had said that when we get into budget development for next year, we're going to be looking at everything, especially if, the governor has her way with the foundation aid formula. So next year is very premature. But this year, I will say this in terms of not insulting anyone's intelligence, which I respect that. If, chaperones for this event has been a challenge. And so if this year we couldn't get the chaperones, I don't know what would change next year to get chaperones, but we haven't had that discussion for next year. For this year, it
So
will
you
be.
would you are going to support an overnight next year if they get the chaperones. So if they get the chaperones next year, it will be supported.
So let me be crystal clear. I always supported freshman awareness, and I do support an overnight. I lived it last year. There were things that I felt could be structured better, and I was very vocal about that last year and been very consistent. I do understand, certainly as your superintendent of the schools, that we are going to have to look at everything very closely through a fiscal lens, this budget development process. So until I see what the governor is going to do with the executive proposal, with the state aid, what's going to happen with foundation aid till we get information in about health insurance, we're starting to get pension information in, so that's going to be a bigger conversation, in terms of next year. I do support, if funding is not an issue for many of our programs, I do support a well-structured overnight, but I also know we need to have our staff be chaperone. One of your questions had to do with this 10-to-1 ratio, and it's in one of our policy regulations, and it is something, the term is endeavor, meaning we're going to do the best we can. Your point is a good one about this is not a field trip away. This isn't overnight. We do have children sleeping. Last year, because this was an in-house event, I said, hey, listen, as superintendent of schools, I know we're not at that 10-to-1 ratio, but we're not traveling. We're in-house, we're in our own building, and, we're going to give ourselves some wiggle room on that. That's nowhere in our policy or regulation and in-house that I found, an in-house overnight event. So we did show that latitude, with my recommendation last year. Listen, chaperones for some events that are longer events, maybe over 4, 5, 6 hours, they can be a little bit of a challenge, and that's certainly something that Mr. Khalifa and us can sit with association representatives and brainstorm and seek solutions on some of these events that tend to be a little bit of a challenge to get more chaperones. So that is something we could certainly look at. In terms of next Friday, I'm not sure where we're at right now because you still, even though it's not an overnight, you still need to have X number of people both manning the workshops and just providing some overall supervision. So we're not quite there yet. How are we looking, Mr. Khalifa?
We have 14 facilitators for the event, and we have 6 support staff who will be manning in the main office. Ms. Goodwin had emailed our department today. We provided her with all that documentation, and she's going to be meeting with those who are going to be facilitating and the office staff to help support and lend whatever guidance they may need.
So I can't say that I wasn't disappointed when the event was not an overnight event. So much so that I actually didn't have it in me to break it to my son that it wouldn't be an overnight event. I let him find out in school, and he came home so sad. He's like, Mom, is it really not an overnight event? I said, no, honey, I'm sorry, it's not. I felt bad. I felt bad for him. I felt bad for all the kids. And like Jackie said, to find out at the last hour, that was terrible. That was terrible for the parents. That was terrible for the children. I understand not being able to get chaperones. I get it. But it was sad. It's sad for the kids. And then I did ask if there was going to be the party or the dance party, whatever. The kids love the dance party. I was told yes. I signed the permission slip. There is no dance party. There is not. So I know it's being restructured, but it's being really, really restructured, and I get it. But I do have to express my disappointment in the restructure and in the event.
I have to also say one thing too, Marisol, to piggyback you. It's not only disappointing that the way that this is all going down, but, and I'm just going to say it like this, but the word out there is that it's not getting the support. I would hope that Connecticut High School will be doing everything in their power to support a program that so many kids come back every year. So the numbers, I had spoken to Dr. Sentimore, were 250 freshmen normally and 175 to 200 upperclassmen. Tell me another program in that high school that brings that many students. Tell me, I want to know, because I don't know any other program that brings that many students. Unless you're talking about the kids playing in bands and doing, I don't know how many do Winter Wonderland, but I would like to think that it's not 500. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't think it's 500, but I have to tell you, 450 to 500 kids, 400 to 500 kids love this event each year. And this is the one that April wants to defund. We could have defunded, we could have went line by line last year, which is what I said should have happened, line by line, and cracked down every single line. Every line could have been brought in as much as possible. But instead, we rubber stamped, the board rubber stamped an adoption and now wants to defund it after the fact. And in the 11th hour, this is what's going on. Very sad for the kids, I agree. I feel very bad for them. And you know what else I feel bad for? That I already heard from parents that many of them won't even go. And many of them are being encouraged not to go. I hope that's not true, because I would hate to hear that people are so against a program because certain people are for the program. I would hate that. This is about the kids. Let's all be for the kids if we're really for the kids.
I just want to, bear witness to the conversation where with Marisol's son. He was very disappointed, and I'm just putting out into the universe plea that however many more chaperones, if everyone could just consider putting aside whatever the personal feeling is, because I would really be upset. A lot of the kids, it sounds like, compromised on what they wanted to do to begin with going overnight, and they're like, fine, we'll go to the not overnight one, and then just to call that off altogether because we can't get the internal support and chaperones to do it would be upsetting. So just like asking for a favor, I don't want nothing back, but like just if everyone could just consider just putting whatever it is aside, whatever it is. I'm not saying I know what it is, but for one extended long day, that might be tougher than the others for a good cause.
Yeah, I have to express the same sentiment, massive disappointment. I mean, I've gone the last few years when I have had yet to have a child in the high school. I finally have a freshman. For a year, I've been telling my son, I can't wait for you to do freshman awareness. It's amazing, overnight. He was disappointed. I'm disappointed. And as I've said multiple times, I am so for unity and community events, bringing people together. And as much as, look, I'm sure it's going to be whatever it is, they're going to have a great time, but there is something special about staying in that high school for the night. I tell you, there was something special for me. I didn't sleep there. I was going to this year, finally. Well, last year I was there till, 2 a.m. or something. I was there until the kids went to bed. And I had to work the next day, so I could not stay overnight. But for me, even as an alumni, being in my own high school until that hour and seeing this go on, it was so special, so unique. So yeah, the event is great, but these kids, these ninth grade kids and these upperclassmen are not going to get, they're being cheated out of getting what all these other grades have gotten simply because it's not overnight. So I think we put out our plea that we want to see this overnight. And I would hope that if it doesn't go overnight this year, that we don't have this happen again. No more with this. And I know you said with April, she said businesses have waste. This is a place to look for waste. I'm sorry, this is not.
I mean, to be fair,
financial
April's
waste.
not here to defend herself.
I know.
What she wrote is truthful. If she wanted to be here to defend herself, she should be here. And she's not, Marisol, so tough luck.
I think that's sad. I don't want to see that happen. This is not,
Anyone can foil it, Jack. Anyone
I
can
know they
foil it.
can.
She is not for freshman awareness, and anyone can say what they like. It's in black and white on emails.
And I understand saving finances, and of course we're fiscally responsible, but what are we here for? We're here to service children, students, do what's best for them. We do it for our own kids. We'll spend a little extra we want to do for them, and that's what we do. And I am also extremely disappointed it's not overnight.
Dr. Sentimore, is there a reason why this wasn't, there wasn't talks about pushing it off like they did in prior years? As a matter of fact, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, it got pushed off dates. Was it the date that was a problem? Is it the overnight that's a problem? Because the AP did say that it's a challenge to get people overnight in general, okay, with in today's day. But it's not, it never mentioned that. That's why I'm saying, is it the date that could be an issue? Because that should have been something that was looked into. And also, are we making sure that every single freshman that wants to be there can be there? So if every freshman wants to be there, they should be encouraged to be there. We're making sure that we're not limiting the amount of freshmen that are allowed to go because of how many, because that was something also that was a concern. If you only get eight, we're only going to take this many. Are these children going to all be able to, every single freshman that wants to do it will have the opportunity?
I'm not aware of any limitation on any of the freshmen, and I'm also not aware that the date was the issue. Because if it would have been presented to me as, if we move this to whatever month, we'll have no issue, I would have said, then let's do it. So I'm not aware as I speak to you.
Thank you. Veterans Day, Ms. Napolitano-Ferno.
Veterans Day. Veterans Day is a time to honor and thank those who have served in the military for their sacrifices and dedication. It's an important day to show appreciation. Well, let me tell you, Connecticut goes big, and I'm so proud of the way that they do. At the high school, they did a beautiful job with honoring 3 veterans, one that was an alumni that passed away. Like I said, it was a beautiful ceremony. We moved on to RMS. RMS will knock your socks off. I have said this. I love going to the RMS Veterans Day celebration every single year. I say to Dr. Sentimore, Marisol, Jackie D, whoever is there with me, I say to them, oh, last year's was the best. Wait till this year. And then all of a sudden, they come out with something else that's just incredible. Every single year, they change it up and make it even more incredible. These students that were on stage, kudos to you. You guys were amazing. To Mr. Bradley and Mr. Liccato, you two are just an incredible team. Thank you for everything you did that day to honor veterans. It was beautiful. All of those poems. I wanted to invite the student who read her poem when her father went to the military. She literally brought tears to me and Marisol, like crying tears. Like, it's beautiful. It puts things into perspective. I would love to have her be invited. And I had said that to you guys, that I would love to see that. If we could send an invite to RMS and let the student, if she's comfortable, come and read the poem. If she's not comfortable, would she be okay with one of us reading it? Because I really feel it's something that the whole district should hear. She really did an incredible job, and it was beautiful. Like I said, the amount of work the teachers on stage dancing and singing and playing instruments, just incredible. Afterwards, having the sixth graders come in and have the ability, they live stream it to the rest of the building, but they had all the veterans go on stage that wanted to, and then the kids asked thoughtful questions. It is just run so incredibly well, and I just cannot thank them enough for making not only myself, but they include my father each year, they include all of the veterans that I know in the neighborhood. It is just so incredible. Thank you so much for keeping these people in mind and remembering that freedom was never free, and we have so much to thank these people for. As for the last place that we ended up getting to, I apologize, we couldn't get everywhere. We were able to get to John Pearl, did an incredible job, beautiful. I made a joke, I said that Mr. Wrinkle was trained by Mr. Liccato, and he did it big too. They went into classrooms, they did a show afterwards. Really great job by all of the schools that did some sort of celebration or ceremony, and to all the ones that just did something in classrooms. Thank you. Thank you to our veterans. Thank you for your service and sacrifice.
So I literally couldn't agree more. Mr. Liccato does an amazing job at RMS. I appreciate all the effort that he puts into it, and the students are just so incredible. The high school put on a very moving ceremony as well. A lot of work went into that with Ms. Necken. She did a great job. Mr. Wrinkle also with the brunch for the veterans. It was very touching to see all the events throughout the school. And, unfortunately, we can't make all 10 schools in one day, but we try to make as many as we could, and they were great.
I want to say an apology to Cherokee. We were under the assumption that it was today, right? Wasn't it? We thought it was today. So if it was today, we were going to try to make, and so we apologize. We had the date wrong, or we would have definitely been at your breakfast. I saw pictures on social media and said, oh my goodness, we missed it. So our apologies. Thank you for all the schools did.
Thank you. College resources, Ms. Napolitano-Ferno.
So at the PTA meeting, the PTA, the high school PTA did an incredible job. Thank you so much, bringing in college resources at the library. Now, I've been asking for help with for all students to have help with their college admissions, to have help. I couldn't believe how incredible this was. So I never knew this. I mean, the library is such a great source, but the lady there was so incredible. She showed that located under digital, e-classes and online learning on their website. You have to have your library card required to sign in. They have BrainFuse live tutoring to help. It covers college classes, skill surfing. They do all sorts of helping with submitting college essays for revision, and usually only one business day to get a response. So if there are students out there struggling on their essay, this is another free platform that could help you. And I actually heard from one of the parents that's on the high school PTA executive board, and she had mentioned right at the meeting that her child did this and got it back immediately, like an hour later. So it's really a great source. It says there's live help on College Now on the library digital resource. Live help Monday through Thursday, 2 to 11 p.m. with college applications, identifying and applying for financial aid, and preparing for admissions interview. So for any students out there that, I know our school does a great job, but it's nice to have other platforms and other help available. And I never knew this was there, so just throwing it out there. And thank you to the public library for all you do for our students.
Thank you. Elementary math curriculum, Ms. DiLorenzo.
I know we're going to have an elementary presentation coming up. I just had a quick question, though, about the math. Just a quick, I'm hoping that it's better this year, that the kids are, I'm not hearing anything too much about that. But my one question is, as far as the assessment, they're using Envision in the class. But to be assessed, they're using iReady, is that correct? And why the difference, does that work? Are we doing two different things? And how does that work?
So I did ask Mrs. Berger for a little update on the Envision, and she supplied it to me. I'm happy to share it out, and then I'll differentiate iReady from Envision and the Savvis product that we invested in as a district. So Mrs. Berger states that over the summer, 18 elementary teachers, our Savvis consultant, that's the professional developer who's working with us this year, and Mrs. Berger worked to make some adjustments to the math topic assessments. So this is directly in line with what you're asking about, and the addition of some optional mid-topic quizzes for teachers to use. That was one of the big feedback pieces that we received from our classroom teachers. They wanted to have more of a variety of ways to assess students, and they wanted to make some adjustments to the assessments within the Savvis product, within Envision Math. Some were spatial, just providing more room on a page for a child to work, maybe selecting certain questions to focus on, et cetera. So they engaged in that work this summer. During the first round of professional development sessions focused on outcome number 1, which was students will engage in differentiated activities through small group and center-based instruction. The teachers learned about the supporting resources that the Savvis program has available to them. Grade level presentations were created where teachers had the opportunity to experience the resources as a student. So from that perspective, and the teachers shared creative ideas on how to utilize the materials and adapt them for their classrooms. The feedback that we've received has been very positive. Teachers expressed their satisfaction with the updated assessments. The Connecticut Envision Math Hub, which was curated by Mrs. Berger and our Savvis consultant, where teachers can find all resources, including PD materials, standards alignment, pacing guides, and access to assessments. We heard from our primary teachers that students are understanding the material at a quicker pace this year, and that there is less remediation needed in the classroom. All levels reported that students are familiar with the lesson routines, with the assessment questions, and strategies needed to solve the grade level material. Right, so we acknowledge that during the first year of implementation, these are relative unknowns to our students and to our faculty as they learn the approach. And we have made an effort to build in year-long grade level fluency activities so that we're treating that fluency aspect at the grade level and between grade levels as well. Teachers are using iReady MyPath for mathematics and reading, right? And so there's a difference in that diagnostic assessment that we're giving to students. So K through 5, we're using iReady for ELA and mathematics. 6 through 8, we are using iReady for ELA, and we are sticking with the MSDA for now for mathematics, which is the assessment platform that we used last year. This is the way that we benchmark students' progress, that we're able to assess their unique skills within the subject area. So it provides us with a lens that we wouldn't otherwise have. The adaptive pathway that's provided specifically through iReady takes students through a pathway based upon their performance. So I complete the assessment, and then iReady kind of targets my weaknesses and my strengths in this MyPath instructional resource. So the way that we use MyPath varies according to the classroom. Sometimes it'll be used as a station, for instance, during station teaching. I've seen it used that way. Sometimes it'll be used during sort of a warm-up in the classroom to put students on for a few minutes. But all in all, students are they're expending a prescribed amount of time in MyPath within iReady across an entire week, across an academic week. And so those are some of the differences. So the curriculum base is Savvis Envision Math, and we use iReady for the diagnostics, as well as that really targeted sort of intervention to treat students' strengths and their deficits within the mathematical standards by grade level.
So then as they're learning Envision, the subjects, everything that they're going through iReady is in line with that to properly assess them as they go through and they learn these topics. They're able to they're like, because I know they're two separate things, but they are in line with each other then.
So they are aligned according to grade level standards, right? So we should be, although they don't speak the same language, right? And I think that's important to note. They're different products, and I certainly acknowledge that, but they are testing or assessing and or instructing on the same standards, right? So, and that adaptive pathway in iReady is really it's not meant to mirror what's happening in the classroom. It's really meant to dig at those very specific skills that students either need bolstering or they've become adept at, and they've sort of tested out of those specific skill sets.
Okay, thank you. And I'm glad to hear that there's, been improvements and it seems like it's it's working out. I know it was tough, so I'm happy to hear that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to add board goals.
Well, I thought we were going to wait till the next meeting.
No.
And I got to.
No, I had asked you to have a date by today, and if there was no date.
No, that's not that. That was not our conversation. I said, give me until the next board meeting so that I could speak to all the members.
This is the board meeting.
The next board meeting, the December board meeting.
Well, I'm going to speak briefly.
Okay, well, I just want to quickly bring up one topic that, so we have been heard, the IT department has heard our complaint about the website. They are creating a website committee. So Ms. Weiss just posted on Parent Square today that there is a website committee that is being formed. There is a form on Parent Square that you can sign and submit if you want to participate in this committee. No later than December 12th, they're looking for parents, teachers, admins, staff. The meetings will meet from 4:30 to 6:30 right here in central office. And it looks like they are Tuesdays starting January 7th. So monthly meetings on Tuesday. There is one on Wednesday in May. So I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. It was just on Parent Square today.
I'd like to see somebody like Jackie DiLorenzo on that kind of committee, considering she is exceptional with you are exceptional with websites, building, and you are on a computer. You're very good. I wouldn't suggest myself.
I don't think it's a board committee. I think that like any parent.
No, but do board members do? Because if so, only two of us can do it. Even as parents, we could only two of us
can be there. Yeah,
So
I
if
get
we're going to do that, that's why I'm saying I can tell you right now I would be terrible at it. So I'm honest.
Right. I know that Melissa is exceptional with websites and internet and technology. I know I'm not too shabby myself, but
You might just want to get clarification because the invite I got as part of the technology committee does say technology website committee. So I think that because I'm the only person on that right now, I'm also the one that's on the website. I think they're one and the same.
Okay.
So we might want to get like clarification.
So this
so you might want to join the technology committee, Ms. DiLorenzo, if you want.
So the website committee is a subcommittee of our technology committee, but there is an all-call, an invitation out there publicly for participation on that committee. So Melissa, if that is your board committee and you'd like to participate, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, so if the two of you want to join the technology committee?
Yeah, I can definitely.
Ms. Cirillo, if you can add Ms. DiLorenzo to the technology committee? Yeah, only Ms. Terragross is on right now, so we're adding Ms. DiLorenzo as the second. Okay, anybody, I guess you want to do board goals?
Yes. So setting district goals provides school boards a mechanism to drive school improvement efforts, encourage student achievement, and provide direction for the district. I implore this board, I've asked for us to do board goals, to do it in a public setting as per the way open meetings law states, to do our board goals in public, since we're not doing it at a retreat, which would be the way that you can do it behind closed doors. I was against that because I want engagement of the public. I also see no reason to hide what we all as board members want to bring to the table for board goals and board goal setting. Where we want to see the district, because obviously we all have a different idea of where we see the district in 5 years. It's important to actually have the meeting. I asked for it in April in an email, as she read it to the board last meeting, said no unless I followed some ridiculous set of rules like a child. I'm asking you as the board president to get a meeting. You can't keep saying I'm going to look for a date. So by next board meeting, if you do not have a date, then put district board goals on for the meeting in public, because I will be reading the work that I put in to make all of my notes to bring to all of you. If we're not going to have a board goal setting together, then we might as well have it during board discussions, and those of us who want to share can.
Yes, that was my understanding when I spoke to you about that. I was gonna try to get a date by the next board meeting.
No,
not
you
this
you
board
had said
meeting,
to
the
me,
next-
I'll talk to April when she comes back, and that was today.
She literally she ran here from the airport, like I didn't get to speak to her.
I don't think it's really that big a deal as saying what date do you have.
She was
available.
overseas and I was not texting her while she was in a different
That's not
country.
what I'm talking about. Well, she's sitting right here. Everyone's been sitting. She could have been looking for a date. I mean, I understand, like, this is going on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And she was very adamant in her email that we don't need to do it now because I didn't want to do it when you guys wanted it in a closed door with no district clerk, with no live streaming. Okay? It was not done in the way that board members expected it to be done. It was only done in how you guys set it up. So me asking now for 2 months for another date is absolutely ridiculous that we don't have a date.
Does anyone have any other board discussions? Can I please get a motion and a second to approve the financial matters, items 2 through 7?
Motion. Second.
Does anybody have any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Can I call for a motion and a second to approve the instructional and non-instructional personnel items as presented?
Motion. Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do either one of you want to speak? Okay. I will now open the floor for the second open public comment portion of the agenda. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping up to the podium. You should have received a number card from security on your way in. If you have not, please see a security guard in the back of the room. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to school matters only. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes for one or more topics. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building. The use of foul language and threatening comments will not be tolerated, and the board will consider a recess until order is restored. Number 1.
Good almost morning. Over many Board of Ed meetings that I've sat through, many discussions of getting kids out there and involved have been very prominent. It tends to pop up a lot. The board loves to support kids in this district with whatever they're interested in, whether it be sports, music, academics, clubs, esports, Model UN. Why can't we support kids with freshman awareness? This board is filled with many opinions, and the one that everyone can agree on is freshman awareness radiates positivity. Don't we want the students all together in a positive manner and everyone having fun? Changing freshman awareness from a sleepover to a long night kind of takes away the value, in my personal opinion. I volunteered at freshman awareness the last 2 years, and I absolutely loved doing it regardless of the time I have to put in, the party supplies I have to blow up, and it's just overall so much fun, and it's so worth it. I think this program has been going on for such a, in my opinion, good time, and it's been so successful as an overnight activity, so why should we change it now? I understand we can't get the budget and the staffing, but if it's something that everyone here, majority, the majority of everyone here agrees on what we should try and preserve it in the way that it is so successful. Because if there's not the same amount of interest, why put it on then? So we should preserve it. So during one of the freshman awareness, I was in a group and I was talking to a student who was really struggling, and I was very glad I made a connection with them. And even to this day, I say hi to them and I say hi to the people that I see. It's just a good way to break into the community. And I know we try so hard to make sure everyone's involved. This is such a good way to make sure it is in a non-pressured environment. So I personally think it is very crucial to keep it the way it is. Not even this year, just going forward, because who wants to willingly be at their school on a Friday to a Saturday? So if someone wants to do that, let them be able to do that, and just let them have that environment to do that in a productive and a fun way, regardless of how it is. And another question I had is, I don't know who to direct this to, would there be a difference in parking with seniors? Like, do I have to get a certain thing done? And I just want to say thank you to the board for putting that on, and Miss Goodwin, Miss Semp, Miss Gerwig. Just thank you to everyone who's involved in the chaperones. Please help out and please show interest so it could be run. So if someone knows anything about the parking, let me know. Thank you for letting me ramble. Bye.
Thank you. I don't understand your parking question. I'm sorry. Seniors can drive if you have a license.
Oh, you'd have to ask your advisors, ask them. Yeah, I would think. Or
I see what you're,
administration.
yes.
That's at the building level.
Check with the high school principal and the advisors for the freshman program.
Thank you for speaking on behalf.
And thank you for sharing your thoughts. Yes.
I know, I saw you last year. It was awesome.
Thank you. My daughter too. She's volunteered every year she could, except her freshman year she didn't go.
Yeah,
that was the year my daughter, and she did not go.
My daughter was there with you, and it was the year of COVID was awful. You didn't really get. It was nice that they were able to do it, and I appreciate the efforts of Mrs. Sempt and Mrs. Goodwin. But the reality is, the following years, and especially the last 2 years, have been so exceptional. I have been so blessed to be there and witness this.
Agreed.
And it's just amazing. It's one of the few times that you see unity of everybody, like people, regardless, hate. I know that there were people who do not love me and saw me at Freshman Awareness, and everyone was so nice and kind and thoughtful and positive. It's an amazing program that, while I agree with Dr. Centimore in some degree, restructuring maybe with the sleeping or this or that, I don't agree with restructuring the program itself. The program itself has worked because it brings back 175 to 200 upperclassmen. That tells you it works.
Because people coming in my first one, okay, except it was my first one, and then I helped out and I really understood what it was. So I think maybe even having a survey to the juniors and the seniors to kind of say what's your experience with freshman awareness, and would you want to help, and just kind of seeing what they feel compared to freshman year to
see.
year.
Well, that I have to tell you, that's what I want to see in that it's called an exit survey. When I went to the conference, they actually have a company that does it for you if you want. It's an exit survey, and not for nothing, but it's excellent because it gets the graduating class to give feedback for all the grades below. And as you graduate, you get to give your feedback, helping the freshmen and really all the kids.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Can I get a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.